Well, hello and welcome to the late morning show. It's early for you, but it's late on. It's never on time. That's the joke. Yeah, I may have had fallen asleep just before the stream. Busy day, busy day. But anyway, something came out interesting today, and that is that Turkey Tom, of course, someone that reports usually on just like weird stuff and things like that, kind of dark stories. He made a story about the man that murdered Charlie Kirk. And he's had an interesting update in that, and that is that an alleged, and it seems pretty realistic, one of the Discord members has leaked information and shown just how much of a wacko the boyfriend was in this situation, and some of the messages from the killer as well. And it actually kind of shed some light on some interesting facts about, specifically to the people that might say that well, these Charlie Kirk, the killer messages, they're clearly fake. The text, it's like Walter White from Breaking Bad. Nobody talks like this. It kind of shows a bigger picture. So I thought we might check that out. But first, I have a bit of news as well. I have a bit of news because something so funny happened. And I only saw this because of something on Twitter. But basically, if you haven't been following this, because we were talking about the Louvre a little bit last night when we were talking about the scammers in Barcelona. But a couple of days ago, the Louvre in Paris, we were talking about how much Paris is a shit city, because it is. But anyway, some guys just walked in and stole the crown jewels. And I did hear about this, but I didn't realize how funny this story was. And also, they actually stole my idea. So I thought I'd take a look at this as well. But the only reason I actually thought about doing this is because of the dumbest take that I saw, which is really funny. So I guess we'll start with this, and then I've got another news article for you as well. They stole your crown. Yeah, they did the funniest one. Is it not the Louvre? Louvre? Wait, how do we pronounce this? Isn't it the Louvre? Oh my goodness, am I about to get exposed as illiterate?
Louvre.
The Louvre. That's what? Well, Paris is a toilet country anyway, so I mean city anyway, so Louvre, whatever. I'm never going to visit there because I'm never going to Europe. All right, let's see what they have to say. Is this on 1 point? No, it's on 2 point speed. Schizo mode. All right, we're not going to watch the whole thing about this. It was just the funny part, which is end part of the story.
Now, an international manhunt underway after masked thieves stole priceless jewels from the most famous museum in the world.
This bigger, there we go.
Still shuttered after
she says Louvre, so I can't be the only person that this affects. Okay.
French crown jewels, literally, including a sapphire tiara.
Is that a joke? The crown jewels, no, it was literally the crown jewels. I believe even one of the crowns was like Napoleon's, or like he gave it to some chick.
And an emerald necklace set among 1,000 diamonds were taken in a wild 7-minute heist on Sunday. Only 4 of those minutes were spent inside the museum. The rest was getting in and out undetected. You don't do that without prior planning.
Well, I mean, their plan could have been put together very quickly, because I know that everyone has had this idea before, because I myself have had this idea before. And it's the idea that if you wear a yellow fluoro jacket, you can get away with anything. And me and my friends in high school, we would talk about this all the time. That you just like put on a couple of fluoro like workman jackets. You can walk into a store and take everything and just get away with it. And you just say, no, this is just construction work or something like that. You can just go anywhere. Like the yellow fluoro jacket is just like a secret key card into every place. Now, this is how they got away with it, which is so funny. I didn't realize just how hilarious this actual story was. You can actually see there he's got his yellow workman jacket.
Isosaurus is out front.
Yeah, shirt that says security too. It's great.
Diversion. Make a lot of noise over there. So over here in this room, you can take 100 million off the wall and waltz right out the front door.
No,
this is how they did it. They just had a big ladder. It's actually just the funniest thing, because sometimes like keep it simple, stupid, right? They just had a big ladder. They went up to the second level. I guess they had like a powered buzzsaw or whatever. They cut open the window, then they cut open the cage, and they got everything they got out. It's like the perfect plan. I mean, I don't know how they rented this cherry picker or extendable ladder or whatever, but I mean, they shouldn't be the hardest to find.
Diversion was needed for the 4 masked robbers who broke into the Louvre Museum in Paris on Sunday
They say
morning,
Louvre too.
stealing priceless French crown jewels in broad daylight.
Now,
Just
how much do
minutes
these
after the
priceless
world's
jewels
largest
cost?
museum opened its doors.
Because we were literally talking about this yesterday. Maybe that's why it was brought up in chat. Someone asked me if I'd been to the Louvre, and I said no. So I guess that was the implication, is that I was the thief. I got away with it again. But like, I don't see the appeal, honestly, of going there. Like, oh, the big paintings. Okay, nice. I mean, I actually like going to museums. I just don't like standing 5 hours in line to go to see a museum.
The Louvre remained closed on Monday as France grappled with one question. How could the world...
Wait, should I read the French to make people really angry?
Louvre remained...
Let me see. Lundi 20 Octobre 2025, le musée des Louvres restera fermé. Pour raisons exceptionnelles, les ponencias ayant réservé pour une visite dans les journées réservées. Merci de compréhension. There we go. See? It's like perfect. I hope there's some very angry French people in chat.
Closed on Monday as France grappled with one question. How could the world's most visited museum be robbed with such brazen audacity?
Yeah, they just got brazen with them. You're not allowed to do that. It's just the perfect crime.
It was a plot that played out like a Hollywood
Better
movie.
than JF. Well, that's I can do Canadian French. The potato has been skinned and peeled, and she has been mashed as another victory for the revolutionary phenotype. Like, wasn't there something like recently about JF? Like, I heard that so his Mama JF is still gone because she's been eaten by JF. But then like his newest girlfriend, she was like she's come out and said that she was being beaten by him every day or something like that.
9:30 a.m. on Sunday, 4 thieves posing as workers wearing yellow vests used a moving elevator ladder to reach the second-floor balcony of the museum. The perpetrators then
Look at these lovely autumn colors. You gotta love it, right? Fall is the best season. The perfect time for a crime.
Forced open a window using an angle grinder and entered the Apollo Gallery, sawing open the display location for the treasures of the French crown jewels. As alarm bells rang, they grabbed 9 of the Louvre's most valuable treasures, the priceless 19th century French crown jewels. Among them, a dazzling crown adorned with 24 sapphires.
The thing is that these things are so valuable, not just because they're historical, the jewels or anything, or the history. It's just that because France is never going to win anything again. There is no sentence where France wins against so-and-so anymore. This is the only time that they were successful in history. And they've been resting on their laurels for the entire time since. So this is not just stealing the past, it's stealing their entire future, because that's all they can do in the future is talk about how good they used to be.
1,083 diamonds. Also stolen, a diamond and sapphire necklace and a pair of earrings, seen here in this painting of Queen Marie Amélie in 1836. And a glittering bow with more than 2,000 diamonds.
Wow. There's a lot of diamonds.
To use a cherry picker and a glass cutter to steal priceless, well, sentimentally priceless jewels from the Louvre.
Yes. Just like we have Australian tourist Jerry on the scene reporting, and he's like, yeah, it's a pretty smart idea. They just had a cherry picker and a fucking fluoro vest. That's how I would have done it. See, the Australians are behind all of these things. That's the thing you have to understand. Australia's been causing so much trouble to the entire world since we got out of Australia. We got sent there to die, but we somehow survived and thrived, and now we're causing the entire world problems. It's great. When I was up in Sapporo a couple of weeks ago, I was talking to the guy that was like my guide, and he was talking about Niseko, and I've never been to Niseko, but apparently it is literally like an Australian colony as soon as the ski season starts. You know, like that Family Guy Roach who's like rubbing his hands going, yes, yes. As soon as the Australians see the first snowflake fall in Hokkaido, they're going to infest the town of Niseko. In fact, when I was a young lad, thinking about how I was going to escape from New Zealand, quite literally, this is a true story. I was looking at there was like a company called like Boo Boo Ski or something. And they're like, are you an Australian who, okay, that's interesting. But I wasn't old enough to do it at the time. I don't know if it still exists, but like I literally was like, I could be a ski instructor. Why not? F. It's over. Japanese internet. Oh no. French. That's pretty funny. I guess we'll have to wait until the stream comes back. Oh dear. We just got started too, and I was just getting into the perfect rant. So you guys are going to miss my rant about Australians being a plague. How very, very sad. Oh well. Max Mura in the chat, I think we're back now, says with 200 yen, China woman stole 1 kg of gold coins from Paris. The thing with stealing gold coins is they're very heavy. So like 1 kg of gold coins, that's like 20 kgs. Anyway, let's continue this Australian tourist's take on this tragic event.
The fact that it was done in daylight is also astounding.
It took
Not
only
really. I mean,
7
that's
minutes.
the best. It's the best time. This is just so smart because you just see some guys working at daytime. They're not being suspicious. It's like fake it till you make it. Confidence. That's what you've got to do to get away with the things. Wasn't there like another really interesting jewel thief case in Europe? Like I think it was in Sweden where they had like speedboats and stuff when they escaped, where they stole crown jewels as well. Is there like some consortium out there that is stealing all of the crown jewels together to put them into some sort of, super death laser or something? That's what I imagine.
For the robbers to re-emerge with 9 pieces of jewelry, apparently from the same window.
What's sure is we failed because someone was able to put up an elevator truck in the open, in the streets of Paris, have people walk up for a few minutes and take priceless jewels and give France a deplorable image.
Thankfully,
I mean, I think France is almost indefamable at this point anyway. It's a nice little crown though. But the funniest thing is like there's some sort of treasure golem or goblin in Diablo 4. When they were running away, they were dropping like treasures and shit. So like I believe that this crown, which is the Napoleon crown that was given to his girlfriend or whatever, they dropped it in like a ditch because it just fell out of their big bags with like money signs on them.
one of the most precious items, a crown Napoleon gave his wife, Empress Eugenie,
There
was
he goes.
dropped by the thieves as it sped away on high-powered scooters along the banks of the Seine. French police says
1 kg of gold is like 1,000 grams. No, it's way more than that. It's like 10,000 grams or maybe 20,000 grams.
the first
Because gold is heavy. I love that bit. Sorry. I really love that bit where there's the guy that's like, what weighs heavier? A kilo of feathers or a kilo of metal? That's right, the metal. And then there's just got like 3 other guys explaining it to the. It's so funny. It's so funny.
48 hours are key to track down the thieves, who so far are still on the run.
Now, it's my understanding that it's still actually missing kilo feather. Yeah, but it's heavier. Yeah, exactly that one. It's true. 100 pounds of gold is heavier than a pound. Yes, exactly. This is what I'm trying to tell you, chat. But like, it's already been 48 hours. But I think that this is 2 days ago, literally. So it's over. Like, what would you do with the crown jewels anyway? Because you can't really sell them to anyone except some crazed billionaire. And they're going to have some expert tell us that just doesn't happen in a moment. But I don't believe him.
Isa Suarez, CNN, London.
It's a simply incredible story. Jeffrey Kelly is out front now. He's a retired FBI agent, founding member of the FBI art crime team.
How come he gets 2
Mr.
lavalier
Fernandez
mics?
recovered more than 20,000 items valued at over $1 billion.
Actually, they both have
so
2
in
lavs.
this case, obviously active manhunt, but the amount of preparation that must have gone into this is extraordinary,
Sounds
right?
okay.
7 minutes, only 4 of them in the museum, and no sign of them yet. 40 hours past all these items being stolen. How much is time of the essence right now? What does 40 hours make you worried?
No, 40 hours doesn't worry me. It's certainly not going to be solved overnight.
This is a terrible interview. Like, I'm sorry. I know that I often say silly things on stream, and I'm not very good at just stringing together the words sometimes. But like the description of this entire thing was awful, and it's like, well, what are you worried about? 48 hours? It's like, no, this is going to be solved overnight. It's going to take at least 2 days, maybe. No, like okay, all right, hey, buddy.
When you look at art theft, recoveries are going to be made very shortly after the theft, or it's going to be generational.
Then you should be worried. Like, he's like, well, they're either going to get them in 2 days or never. That should be concerning to you, my man, because it's already been 2 days. Do you think they're going to get him back, chat, or are the French just going to give up and go for a smoke break? I think it's going to be the latter.
French police right now are doing everything that they would do for an investigation. They're looking at surveillance video. They're processing the truck that was recovered. I believe that the subjects had planned to burn it, and it wasn't burned, so there's going to be potential DNA evidence that can be recovered.
This is an ugly crown. I'm sorry. I don't like this at all. Like, they're like, oh, let's use pearls. Natural pearls are pretty ugly, to be honest. I know this because I've been to Mikimoto Island, where they literally developed and invented culturing pearls. And they had so many fucking pearls in Japan, in the Toba Bay, Mie Prefecture, because of Mr. Mikimoto-san, that they started grinding them up and putting them into jelly for people to eat, because they're like, well, I mean, pearls are very beautiful and white, right? So if you just eat this jelly, then your skin will get better.
And they're going to be reviewing surveillance video and conducting, and not just throughout
These look like old people's teeth that they've put into a crown.
Throughout Europe, intelligence
the crown is
sources
okay. This
to see
crown's
if
okay.
anybody has any information of value. So it's going to take time. They're going to be in this for the long haul, I'm sure.
A Paris prosecutor told reporters today that it's possible that an art collector actually commissioned the heist. Do you think something like that's possible? I mean, who do you think is behind this?
Well, I'm assuming that's speculation. If the French prosecutor has specific information that this was a contract robbery, then she probably shouldn't be talking about it to the international media. I think it's probably more speculation on her part. We've seen this so many times.
This guy sucks. He's not having any fun at all. Like, he's just some FBI guy, not like a magical ex-jewel thief or something. Like, why couldn't it be commissioned by some art thieves? Are these guys just doing it for the love of the game? Like, you go in there and you steal, like, what, 88 billion pounds? Well, not 88 billion. 88 million pounds worth of jewelry. Do you just split them between the three parties or something? Like, I don't know. Have some imagination at least. At least.
Times throughout my career, we call it the Dr. No theory. It's very Hollywood-like, the idea of some reclusive billionaire who has his underground lair filled with illicit treasures. We've never seen that ever happen. We've never
because how many times do you actually raid a billionaire's house and find them?
Had any reclusive billionaire die and his family comes upon the underground lair filled with priceless...
Yeah, because the family doesn't give up the goods. If you're a billionaire's son, you're like, oh, whoopsie daisy, we just found a bunch of jewelry from the 1700s. They're not going to give it back. Come on now. It's a priceless family heirloom now.
Artwork was most likely organized crime.
This guy's being paid off, I think. He's being paid off by big
what they did. And
art
sometimes
scams.
When you're that brazen, you're able to catch everybody off guard, and that's exactly what happened. Sometimes truth is stranger than fiction.
It is amazing, though, Isabella Stark Gardner Museum. You know, you think about the things that go missing and then are just never found, right? Because no one tries to sell them or what? I mean, just these mysteries. I mean, what are the odds that this becomes that?
Well, it's two different things, right? We've seen throughout history, including, of course, the Gardner Museum, paintings are stolen. You steal iconic...
I mean, I'm not like an expert on this sort of thing, but surely with today's modern technology, we could just attach like air tags with a small like wireless charging ability in the stand to just recover these things immediately. File this under pretty obvious if you think about it. Like, it literally just needs to be like a tiny little thing, and then just put in a small like copper cable that emits like the well, I don't know how wireless charging works. It's magic. Shouldn't be too difficult.
Artwork, and then what are you going to do with it? It's too hot for anybody to buy it. And so you've seen thieves now are shifting the focus to jewels, because obviously jewels can be broken down, the gems can be recut, and the settings can be melted down. I would hope, and I'm optimistic here, that of course the clock is ticking. Hopefully we have a little bit of
crafty jewel thief in the chat says Faraday bags. Okay, you got me. Lining. So going to be like they're lined like their suits with that space blankets like Chuck in Better Call Saul, so they can get away with it. It's the jewel thief arms race. Is okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. You got me there.
Time, because if these guys are smart and they seem to be professionals, they're going to hold on to it for a little while. They're not going to break it up immediately, because if the French police come knocking on their door, they're going to need a get-out-of-jail-free card. And those jewels are their get-out-of-free card.
That's not going to happen though. Like there is no opportunity. Like, do you give these back if you're the criminals? Of course you don't. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, it's like, well, I mean, we'll put you away for 20 years instead of 15 if you give us it. Like, no, you just no. Sorry, finders keepers at this point, I think. What do you think is going to happen though, Chad? Do you think they're going to get? I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think the French are just felted eternally. They're going to be robbed and picked apart, and all of their collections are going to be in the hands of wealthy Chinese and Saudi investors.
A jail-free card, and so hopefully they're going to.
It happened in Denmark last year. Yeah, this is why this guy's not having any imagination whatsoever. Like, it was like, I thought it was Sweden, but like it was like that was the one with the boat chase, right? Some sort of international consortium is he's stealing the world's crown jewels for some nefarious purpose. I want to believe that, no matter what the truth is. That's my headcanon on these events.
Green Vault robbery in Dresden in 2019, when they were recovered in 2022, and the jewels were recovered when they were arrested.
Let's bring in Anthony Amore. He's the director of security for the Isabella Stewart.
It's like Wish.com, Stephen Colbert or something.
Gardner Museum in Boston, which you may remember. That was the victim of another infamous heist back in 1990. 13 pieces of art were stolen. That crime remains the single largest property theft in the world that has never been solved. Mr. Amore was not in charge at the time. I want everyone to know. I think the question everyone is asking today, Mr. Amore, how in the world does this happen at one of the most famous museums in the world where you would think there would be just incredible security?
Well, Jake, there is good security there, and most museums
Clearly
do
not.
have good security, but no place is impenetrable. And when you see the method used by these thieves, which was sort of a brute force approach, they combined this clever approach with using this construction equipment so that they sort of blended into the scenery. And
I mean, like, how did they get the construction and scenery stuff? Is my question. Did they rent it? If they rented it, it should be very easy to find them. If they didn't rent it, they either owned it. Well, again, it should be very easy to find. If they stole it beforehand, which I guess I don't know if jewel thieves would steal a truck before starting, but like it should be pretty easy to figure out who these guys are just based on the truck, unless they literally just stole it that very morning from like around the corner. In which case, it would have been a completely improvised plan, which is would be just phenomenal. Just so funny.
And used tools to get through the window. It's a tough thing to prevent.
You've suggested that the timing of the theft might suggest there was some kind of inside information. Tell us more. What do you mean by that?
Suspicious conspiracy. I like it.
Well, it could be. Why didn't they do this at, say, 7 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock before the museum opened? They did it at 9:30 when the doors were open, and perhaps, it's a speculation, the museum had lowered some of its technological guards protecting the building.
I mean, you want to do this when it's really busy, because then people are going to be distracted. If you do it at like 2 a.m. in the morning, the security guard's got nothing else to look at, of course.
To get in. I mean, the Louvre is the most visited museum in the world. I would suspect, if it was me, that if I was going to climb into a window when the museum was open, the gallery would be packed. But when they got into the Apollo Gallery, it was empty. They must have known that.
So art recovery.
I mean, if they surely the Louvre opens at a certain amount of time. You do this at 9 a.m. before anyone has time to disperse through the thing. Like, it's not like Disneyland, I guess, when the Louvre opens up, that everyone just starts running to the first ride possible. I assume people walk through slowly going, yes, impressive.
Expert Arthur Brand says that because these pieces are so recognizable, he believes the thieves are probably going to dismantle them and sell the jewels and melt down the gold and silver. Do you agree?
That's probably the reason they did this. I mean, you can't fence these things. It's sort of like a masterpiece painting. Nobody's going to buy it from you.
But that's not true. That's just not true, that nobody would buy this. Like, I would buy it for $100. Okay, now they're not going to sell it to me for $100. But there's clearly a buyer out there, and the rest of it is just negotiation. It's like, well, they might get turned in. Yeah, but there's a lot of sleazy people out there like myself that would buy stolen French crown jewels.
Person commissioning these heists for that reason. There's no collector. So
I steal fossilized dino turds and eggs. You know the biggest crime ever? The most unfair thing that you can imagine is that Nicolas Cage was robbed of his Triceratops? No, his Tyrannosaurus skull. I'm pretty sure it was Nicolas Cage. But like, basically, Nick Cage or some other actor bought a Tyrannosaurus Rex skull for, like, I believe $4 million. And it was a stolen artifact. So they took it from him, and he never got any money or like reimbursement from it. So there's absolute robbery. So if you buy something, like if you lawfully pay for it, would you tell the people that you have it? Because they're just going to come and steal your shit back. Like, I'm pretty sure it was Nick Cage. Maybe that's why he's Nick Cage. T-Rex skull. This should be pretty easy to come up with, right? If it's true, or unless I just made the whole thing up. Yeah, Nicolas Cage bought a fossilized skull of a Tyrannosaurus relative to a T-Rex. Okay, so it was a Tyrannosaurus beta. So it wasn't even the real T-Rex. At auction, it was $276,000 after outbidding Leonardo DiCaprio. So it was a little bit. I gilded the lily a little bit. In the 2014, U.S. authorities informed Cage that the skull was illegally smuggled from Mongolia and had been part of a criminal inquiry. Cage was not accused of wrongdoing and voluntarily leave the skull to the government, so it could be repatriated. But he didn't get anything for it. So that seems like he should have just kept it. I would have kept it. That's his skull now. It's for a fine condition to his collection.
But I think that the thieves are probably holding off for a bit first to see, hopefully, to see what the museum's response is going to be. It's a government museum, so it's probably self-insured. So I wonder if they're waiting to see if a reward is offered.
Well, there might be some collector. I mean, the paintings that were stolen from the museum at which you work, they're hanging somewhere probably, right?
No, that's never happened actually, Jake. When masterpieces are stolen, the people who stole them quickly find out they're too recognizable and too valuable, and there's really no buyers out for them. You're not going to find an instance.
This is actual Cope from this art historian, curator type person. So there's some paintings that were stolen and they're missing and they're not hanging on somebody's wall. Even if it's just the thief's own bedroom, they're hanging on somebody's fucking wall, mate. He just doesn't want to admit it. This is absolute Cope. Holy shit.
In history where that's happened. So perhaps things are...
There's no history because you don't tell people. When you have a stolen artifact, you put it somewhere cool that only you and your friends, your close friends can appreciate it. And then you just don't tell anybody. That's how you get away with it. And then like 200 years later, your great-grandchildren can brag about it.
Thinking you can sell them, but you quickly learn you cannot, which is more difficult for an investigation because if you hold the stuff tight and you don't shop it around, then it
makes no sense that they would destroy them. Well, in the case of paintings, it doesn't make any sense that they would destroy them. But in the crown jewels, it does, because you could easily just, we'll see, like you've got a diamond here, right? So first of all, you can melt down the gold. No possible way to trace it. That's just easy money right there. Then all you need to do is cut a smaller diamond out of this larger diamond. So yeah, you lose some of the value of the stone, but then you have a unique, never been seen before cut diamond that you can just sell very easily. It's like they can crack this in 2 or into 4 and then just make a bunch of smaller faceted diamonds. That would be the play for this. It's very sad that these pieces of history that will probably be destroyed like that. But I mean, that is what it is.
Makes for less witnesses.
They can trace gold. Maybe, but like not if you just like break it up and mix it with other gold and then sell it to pawn shops around the country or something. There's ways to get around this. Okay, you guys have I think that you guys have no imagination. Okay. It'd be so easy to do this. If I did it, this is how I would do it. I could get away with this in theory. I guarantee it. Like I watch so many metallurgy channels that I know all about mixing up the spectrograph analysis. Oh my gosh. Spectrograph. Apparently chat's just like full of like spectrograph analysis. You think the Chinese market is checking for spectrographs? No. That you can find somebody to sell it to. Yes, in theory. This happened 2 days ago. I wasn't streaming 2 days ago, was I? That's very suspicious. And I said I'd never go to Europe, so that sounds pretty suspicious too. But anyway, there's a good news to this story, chat, okay? Because even though the French have lost $88 billion in priceless historic artifacts, it's not over yet, chat. And this is the reason that I brought up this entire thing, because there's a silver lining to every cloud out there. And that is, according to Wireless, luckily, since the Louvre made NFTs of their jewelry, even though the crowns physically were stolen, they still own the same assets because the tokens still exist and are in limited supply just as before. Nothing has changed. Few understand blockchain technology. I mean, there it is. There it is, chat. Now, the thing is this, now this is the question to the chat. Is this a parody post? And you might think, well, of course, this guy's just joking. Well, of course, this guy's just having a bit of a giggle. But the thing is, the NFT people are so retarded that they actually believe this. So this is like Poe's law. It's imperceivable whether this is true, that this person believes this, or if it's just a big chuckle. I think this guy really believes this, because I had to scroll through his page and he does talk a lot about BTC quite a bit. There's no way this isn't a parody. I don't know. When I scroll down, he's talking about BT. Let me see if I can find. See, look at this. He's talking about the blockchain, saying stonks. Coinbase acquires Echo for 350. Like this. You think this guy's making jokes? I don't know. I think he believes it. I choose to believe that he believes it. Anyway, I've got some. We'll get to the Turkey Tom. We'll get to the Charlie Kirk Turkey Tom stuff in just a second. But I got one more piece of news that I saw today that came across my desk, even though I was very limited on time today, and quite exhausted actually. But good news for all of those people that love health, because there's a new invention chasing the ideal gut. Poop tracking cameras to give health insights. Are they necessary? I believe there was a photo here. This is a real product. So this is a camera that you place inside your toilet, and when you take a shit, it takes a photo of your shit and perhaps your asshole, and it uploads it to the cloud so that Big Poop can analysis your shit, and they can check your shit. You can buy a smart ring to track your sleep activity, or smartwatch to monitor your heartbeat. So perhaps it makes sense that health tech's frontier has come for your toilet. Behold, Dakota, Kohler's new toilet camera. Now, I thought the Japanese were on the forefront of this technology, so I was very surprised that it's not happening from over in the land of Lising Fun. No, not that type of toilet cam. This one only shoots pictures down. Allegedly, this is what they say. I don't trust this. I don't trust this whatsoever. It's inside the bowl, sending the snaps to an app that analyzes the stool samples and rates your gut health. The Dakota can be yours for $500. Press 1 if you think this is a fetish thing. Plus an annual subscription fee. Sorry, I can't take a shit at work. I'm not paying my office subscription fee to the toilet camera. Kohler's new product joins Throne, a $319 offering from an Austin-based startup. The Throne captures stool and hydration patterns, hands-free, okay, and automatically. The camera description reads, notice shifts sooner, fine-tuning daily chores, and feel more confident every day. You know who needs this is the quartering. They're going to put, like, the quartering could take these people out of business when they started analyzing his Denny decisions. You might wonder who is this for. Slovenian philosopher Slavish Rivik once noted that the traditional German toilets have poop shelves. Like, is this true that German... Like, I know there's some country that has poop shelves, which is... I want to search for this, but I have to be very careful. Solon the Lich with a 200 ARS says, the thieves already fled French territory. They just wore the jewels, painted their faces with some brown polish, and walked past every security checkpoint. Doubting their royal status would be a bigger crime. That's true. That's true. Like, who is it? Is it the Dutch that have those really weird the poop shelves? Okay, I'll search for this one off screen, because this could be a very, very risky thing. But this is like, all right, so they're Dutch. It's Dutch toilets. It's the Dutch that are responsible for this. This is, I don't know if you guys have seen this before, but this is the weirdest shit that I've ever, well, I mean, not really. We're kind of a Freudian slip, I suppose. But like, the Dutch actually believe that this is good technology. So it's like you can appreciate your work before you send it off into the world. I don't like this. I know that Japan has the squatty toilets, which kind of has a similar sort of thing, but I don't like this. This is cursed, yeah. You know the funniest... Oh no. I just remembered something about these toilets. So you've got your Dutch toilet, right? Like this. Okay, and the hole's over here. So a normal toilet, a normal toilet has a bowl, a big bowl. So when you sit down on the toilet, right, and drop, everything's fine. There's no problems here. Sometimes there's an uncomfortable splash. Nobody likes that, but that is the situation. The problem with the Dutch toilet, and the Dutch people have actually said this, because I remember reading about this. Okay. Is that they have a limited space on their shelf. So if you had like an extra long day in the office and you're a man specifically, sometimes the turd will fall this way. And I can only describe it as like this, okay? I think chat's paying attention, but it works like this. Pump. That's the only way I can that's the only way I can describe it. The Dutch, leagues ahead of the rest of the world with their toilets. Like unironically, I've read stories like this is a thing apparently in Dutch humor is they talk about the brushing your elbow when passing somebody. That's how we'll describe it. The shelf toilet, yeah. Anyway, sorry, back to the toilet camera. Back to the toilet camera. We got distracted by the toilet segment. All right, let's see. Shit is first laid out for us to wait. What? German toilets have poop shelves where shit is first laid out for us to sniff and inspect for traces of illnesses, while the French toilets have a hole in the back to make feces disappear as quickly as possible. The French are actually maybe one. This is only one good thing they've done so far. Somewhere in the middle are the American toilets, a basin full of water so that the shit floats in it, visible but still not to be inspected. Actually, American toilets look strange to me. Hold on a second. We got to go back to the toilet discussion. Because American toilets have like a big fucking lake inside them, which is kind of weird, right? I don't know if is all American toilets like this. I actually don't know. I've never been to America. Like American toilets have like this massive pool of water, but like the toilets where I'm from, they usually just have like a little, like maybe just this area, like this small part over here. I don't know. Americans in chat, please explain your decision. Is it just the luxury? Is it just a wealth thing? Who can say? Let's see. So clearly, Zazik has not spent enough time on TikTok. In an optimization-obsessed world, stool gazing has become nearly as popular as sleep tracking or counting steps. People share their poop. Wait, really? People share their poop logs on the app, recording every time they take a number 2 each month. I mean, surely it's 30 or more. Right? right, regular bros. People share their poop logs on the app. I have pooped 329 days this year. This guy needs to eat more fiber. One woman said in 2024 on TikTok, a poop weighs about a quarter of a pound to 1 pound. What are these 1 pound shits? Holy shit. I mean, so if you take about a quarter of that, it's 131 pounds that I pooped this year. Well, that's a lot of shit. I should have had the Malcolm from Jurassic Park lined up for this. The Bristol Stool Scale, which I'm not going to look at, a clinical assessment tool developed by doctors to classify samples into 7 categories with types like a sausage, but with cracks on it, and like a sausage or snake, but smooth and soft, being the gold standard. This is the gold standard in shitting. Frequently make appearances on Gut Health Influencers' social media pages. I actually think I have seen the Bristol Stool Scale. That's a bit of a tongue twister. The chart helps doctors diagnose irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, which is also internet blood sports, which was once a diagnostic that one might keep to themselves. Not anymore. In 2022, the magazine Allure proclaimed, "We are entering the age of IBS empowerment." I can't read this without thinking about the sector. That's the thing, because wasn't 2022 like the sector was dead by that point? So it all went to shit, like unironically. With more doctors studying the syndrome and women rallying, women love poop related shit. I've noticed, like women love toilet humor, women love slapstick humor. I've noticed this a lot. Let me see. And women are rallying around the theory that hot girls have stomach issues. People think it's wasteful, that you should flush something away, but it really contains a lot of insights about us, says Cash Kapedia, the CEO of Cola Health. It literally comes from us, and now we can study it in a way that doesn't require you to handle it. This is fetish stuff. I'm sorry. I don't believe that this is for health reasons. This is for weird obsessions where people log every single, like, captain's log, star date. Jesus. Anyway, right at the time when your urine hits the water level of the toilet, the camera will start flashing its LED light. Aren't there some people that like take shits without peeing though? Kapadia says that the pictures will then get uploaded to their cloud server and analyzed through proprietary shit algorithms, which take about 3 to 5 minutes to process before the end results are visible in the user's app. Wait, so the algorithm takes longer than it takes Grok to generate a picture? How much data can there be in like shit pictures? Collis says that the camera boasts privacy first features. I put extra doubt on that one. such as fingerprint authentication and end-to-end encryption, like just like that T app, right? That was programmed and all the T got spilt. This is what's going to happen. There's going to be the great shit leaks of 2026. It's understandable that many would not trust a toilet tracking camera. Joanna Gaia, a clinical professor and management of science at the University of Buffalo who studies health data systems, says that the idea of a poop camera is less invasive than a Fitbit or Apple Watch. No, it isn't. Which collects more data. You know, we might be taking a pit. We might have a camera directly pointed at your asshole and taking pictures of your shit. But this is less invasive than wearing an Apple Watch when you go for a run. This is not a medical organization, so they're not covered by HIPAA, the US law on medical privacy, she adds. There's something that comes up with a lot of apps that are healthcare related. When 23andMe, the at-home genetic testing company, filed for bankruptcy, many feared it would sell its data to the more than 14 million customers to a third party. In the end, the data went to a non-profit founded by the company's that's still not great. The company's former CEO, Anne Wojcicki? So is that related to the Susan Wojcicki? Who intends to use it for medical research. So their data did get sold, but just for free. That's even a worse deal. The concern for me comes from what data, who owns all this data, and what they could potentially do with it. Well, definitely goon to a bunch of pictures of shit and perhaps assholes. We recognize that this is a very personal space, and we've taken that very seriously in how we design for privacy and security. Though the Dakota shares anonymized poop data with unspecified business partners. I told you they were selling the shit data to people. I knew it. It will not share the data with a physician or a family member. So it literally is going to their unspecified shadow poop government. Who the fuck is buying poo data? There's a lot of weirdos on the internet, my friend. There's a lot of them. As of now, the Dakota does not share its data with Apple Health or Google, or not for long. But Capipedia says that this could change if people want that. Who would want, it's like there's a little changes in the EULA agreement, and it's like, do you want us to upload your data to Google and to better track your diet? Amanda Sucadia, a registered dietitian based in the Long Beach, California, is not exactly surprised that poop cameras exist. Yeah, of course. Well, I mean, she's got to do something to survive in California, right? I think especially when the rise of colon cancer is colon cancer rising among young people? I didn't know about that. Fortunately, I'm not young, so I don't have to worry about that. Whew. There are more conversations about actually looking at what's inside the toilet bowl, she says, referring the sharp increase in disease in poo people under 50, which many experts attribute to ultra-processed food. It's probably because you're eating just sugar. It's another way for companies to capitalize on that. This is a very cheeky little thing they have here, but seriously, and there's a ice cream cone with like some chocolate ice cream. That's very cheeky. She worries that too much attention is placed on the poo appearance could be detrimental. Oh my goodness, they're going to be poo shaming people now in school. Sally's poos aren't perfectly spherical. Whatever. There's this idea in gut health that you're striving for, this big, beautiful, smooth, snake-like poop all the time. When it's really just not realistic, she says. I could see how these devices could make people obsessed with chasing the ideal gut. Like this one does actually bother me though, because like you always see that garbage people shill where it's like the detox diet. Oh, this sucked out all of the toxins out of my body. Like, no, detoxes are just bullshit. You're just taking like colonics or fucking laxatives and thinking and getting everything flushed out of you, but it's not toxins, it's just everything inside you. Oh dear. What's their bottom tagline? Let's see. They usually have like a joke or something at the end here. Let's have a look. So Sucadia tracks their own movements using the Bristol chart. I always say that looking at your own poop is like a report card. It's a good way for us to know what's going on inside our gut. You don't always feel differently when you take a probiotic, but I definitely feel different when I don't poop every day. I mean, that's true, I suppose. She mentioned that this tracking method is entirely free. You don't need a fancy camera to look at your poop. That's true. That is true. You don't need this camera, and you don't need to send your poop to the cloud. The weird Dutch people. That's who's buying the data. It's the Dutch toilet enjoyers. That's what's happening here. What was that movie? There was like a movie with Jack Black in it, I think, where they made like they made a spray and it made shit go away. I can't remember the name of this movie, but it's like I think it was like Ben Stiller and Jack Black were like neighbors, and Jack Black was like a crazy like inventor, and he came up with an idea that he could spray the poo away. I can't remember what it was called. Like there was they had a rhyme for it though, and it was like a magical product. You just spray it, and the shit would go up and away, and it just evaporated. And then it was going into the air, and it was making all the horses die and shit. Was this a real movie, or did I just make this up in my brain, like while I was sleeping or something? The movie was called Envy. Okay, there you go. Is this all right? Let me see if Envy movie. Oh, it's right. You're right. I was right. It was Jack Black, and it was a 2004 film. Has anyone actually seen this film? It's a black comedy buddy film. There it is. What is it? What was the phrase that they had for the thing? It was like spray the shit away or something. I don't know. Anyway, it's not important. Do I have one of those Japanese toilets? I mean, I have a regular Japanese toilet. Is this like Jiro dreams of sushi, but it's meme dreams of shit? I don't think so. Everyone vaguely remembers this movie. I don't have a $10,000 toilet, but I have a regular Japanese toilet, which does have a bidet. So, bidet mates. Although when I first started working in Japan, I did have, not at my house, but I did have a squatty potty at the place where I worked, which is pretty funny. I would occasionally have to use it, so I'm familiar with it. But fortunately, I was already an avid squatter at that point, so for weightlifting, so I had no problem with it. Apparently, it's much better for you, though. All right, we have the Dutch Internet Toilet Defense Force in the chat saying, "I'm Dutch and I have a normal toilet. You must be confused with the Germans." Is this just like, does this toilet actually exist, or is this just like one of those things that people make? Like, they say that the Dutch say that the Germans have it, the Germans say that the Dutch have it. The Swedish say that the Finnish have it. Is it just one of those things? Anyway, that's enough toilet humor for today. So we'll go to this video. So Turkey Tom starts off the video by saying, like, I'm just a YouTuber. It's very strange for this to occur to me because I think that these Discord logs have only been between two groups of people, himself and the FBI. This is a follow-up to the video he made called "The Man Who Murdered Charlie Kirk." And then you can see that the guy here and his furry boyfriend. And this really goes to show you some of the insanity that was actually going on in the households. So I thought it might be interesting since there's a kind of a follow-up.
But then I received a message.
All right, so here's where it's come. And this has actually happened to me as well before, but not with the Charlie Kirk stuff. But it says, "Hello, I just watched your video on Charlie Kirk, assassin Tyler, and I thought you did a good job. I was one of their friends," is what he's going to say.
Message was from a third party who was close to both of them and remained in contact for 6 years up until the attack.
This AI upscaler is making this dude look a lot more feminine. Like, we got to stop using, like, see how it's making like the eyes like look a lot more regular. Anyway, you'll see what I mean later on.
Attack took place. They reached out to me, providing never before seen information on the lead up to what happened. To my knowledge, the only other people who have this are the FBI. Now, as I go over this information, you'll notice that some of it is redacted, but I've redacted it myself.
The pinned message is very funny because it says, "You're not out of your depth, Tom. Don't say that. I've been inside you countless times and I found you're quite deep." And Turkey Tom decided to pin that and heart it, and it has over 5,000, well, about 5,000 likes. So you might not be wrong. I think he did have his black painted nails before, right?
With the exclusive intention to preserve the anonymity of both this person and other people who are named, who have nothing to do with Tyler's crime. Now, keep in mind, these claims are being made by an anonymous leaker. There could be more to certain events that we're simply not aware of, and other details that may explain more of the story. Additionally,
it seems like it has been verified, though. This person was indeed inside of the Discord leaks. Was in their 3 Discord channels, and there was some evidence provided to Tom to verify that. But again, you should always take these sort of things with grains of salt. Now, like I said, this happened to me before when we were talking about that British guy, the live stream killer, who was pretending to live stream when he went out to murder somebody. One of the friends messaged me, and I was like, "Oh, holy shit! Do I talk to this person? Do I not?" And I didn't know what to do because I was very perplexed. And I think Jeff said this as well, that he had a couple of maybe people related to Taylor Business contact him because they saw his live streams.
Some of this video is my opinion and should be treated as such, but I've done my best to provide you all with the information I'm able to share to the extent it can be verified. In his first message to me, this person said, "Hello, I just watched your video on the Charlie Kirk assassin Tyler and thought you did a good job. I happen to know Tyler and Lance in real life. I don't take a lot of pictures, so I can't prove it very well, but I am in Discord servers where both of them are, including the one where Tyler posted his confession. I have some pictures of the apartments and some stories I can tell. There were 2 pictures attached underneath. One of Tyler's confession in the Discord chat that matched the ones published by Ken Klippenstein, which were then republished by every major news outlet. The other picture is a completely original photo of local police at Tyler Robinson and Lance Twiggs' place, taken from across the street."
I mean, this would very much lead me to believe that this was at least a neighbor. Because if you can revert, like, obviously the Tom is the only one that has access to the original photo, but if you just revert image search this and there's like no results, then I don't know, I think that adds a lot of credence to his story.
For the sake of verification, he later also provided me with archives of the 3 Discord servers they shared, which I'll eventually go over the relevant parts of. Once this person's identity was verified, he proceeded—
This is why, by the way, you should never post anything weird in Discord, because people will absolutely sell you out. Even if it isn't Discord themselves, it'll be other Discord users.
to tell me about the state of Tyler and Lance's living space. The apartment would drastically shift from clean to super dirty, depending on the state of Lance's mood. I don't have too many pictures of most of the mess, but basically, he'd start living in the living room.
Obviously, just for context, if you're unaware, Tyler is the shooter and Lance is the furry boyfriend that Tyler was killing for.
Just start turning it into his nest. After the first roommate moved out, and right after Tyler moved in like 2 weeks later, Lance had a really big breakdown. The living room went from a place guests came over to something that had to be hid. People still came over, but everyone got weirded out by all the trash. He basically had layers of wires, random Temu trinkets, decorations, random art projects, clothes, and empty alcohol containers everywhere. And
I've had a roommate like this. Have you ever had this when you're younger or you're poorer, like you move out, you're flatting, you got like a 4-bedroom apartment between 4 guys, and and then somebody has a bright idea, like, guys, if we use the lounge as a spare room, suddenly we're all paying $20 less for rent. And then as a result, everybody's just miserable, and it's the worst fucking idea. But people keep trying. They're like, it's like, maybe it'll work. Maybe it'll work this time. No, it never works. Stop doing this.
if anyone touched it, he would get livid. One friend got banned from the apartment for a while because he kept touching the Temu trinkets.
It's the Temu trinkets. Just like garbage that you order off Temu. I'll tell you, kind of want to go on a rant here, but I probably shouldn't. Because my girlfriend keeps ordering shit from Shein. So Shein's like, I guess, like the clothing version of Temu. She's got a big fucking Shein collection now. I'm like, why do you keep buying it? You wear them once and you never wear it again. She just can't help it.
I wish
She sometimes watches the stream, so she's not watching right now.
still had pictures, but I felt sort of guilty and deleted them since I knew Lance wasn't in the right state of mind. For context, I've been playing games with Lance and Tyler for like 6 years. I count myself kind of close to them, but I was trying to separate them from myself because being around them wasn't good for me. I say them, but Tyler was always level-headed and easygoing. But Lance could be anywhere from too depressed to talk to manic, wide-eyes, crazy person.
So the question here was Tyler just a good boy who didn't do nothing wrong, and he was corrupted by this manic, depressive, furry, trans, feminine hypnosis character? Is this what happened? Was Tyler a good boy all along? He went off to college and got hypnotized by this succubus in a fursuit? Is that what happened?
Take a brief moment here to comment on the fact that in my original video, this is more or less the impression that I had, judging exclusively from Lance's more significant and expressive online presence relative to Tyler's almost non-existent digital paper trail. From Lance's Reddit account and the things his family members—
Was Tyler just like zonked out on antidepressants or something, and he just became like a zombie? And it's like the sissy hypnosis MK Ultra. Yeah, the femnosis or whatever. We can come up with something better than that. Come on now.
had to say about him, he clearly was more outspoken and in some ways unstable. There were Reddit posts of his mentioning being at odds with his family to the point of—
Wait, was told I was possessed by a demon, and then within 30 minutes kicked out of the house because I started laughing and wouldn't go to the bishop for a blessing. Later found out that they just didn't like me and they were looking for a way for me to get out of the house. Holy shit, this is a big fucking red flag. Your entire family fakes that you have a demon just to get you out of your house. Whoa, buddy.
being kicked out, and he had also discussed a lot of substance abuse issues, which are a far cry from the quiet, even if uneasy relationship that Tyler seemed to have with his family. What was completely unknown, and as far as I know, hasn't been published anywhere, is this combination of hoarding and mania that this person describes Lance as exhibiting. The messages continue. During this first nest.
So since this Lance person wasn't connected to any of the actual events that took place when Charlie was shot, they're still out on the street. And I mean, obviously they haven't committed a crime, but like, this is a weird thing to think about, is that this person's boyfriend shot and murdered, and perhaps the most political and most visible assassination of, I don't know, last, I want to say 10 years at least. And they're just like out there, and they most likely have seen this video, or they're watching this video, or they're still going to school, they're still doing work, or I guess they're just staying in their goon cave with all their Temu trinkets, hoarding them like some sort of Skeksis or something. I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing to think of the state of affairs where you're having these videos made about these people and they're just still out there.
Phase.
You know, like it's one thing to make a video about a person that's in prison or something, you know, because it's very unlikely they're going to see it. And but like these sort of people, they're usually compulsive and they like Google their own name and shit. And I guess you really would do that if you were this person, like this Lance character, because everyone's talking about your boyfriend. Like, and then they're trying to find out who is this weirdo in the fursuit. So they almost certainly did see this.
Lance started working very rarely. He worked with his dad for a tub repair company. They'd either repair tubs or install them at construction sites. But when Lance was super depressed or just too manic, he'd take the day off and hit his THC vape, drink, and scroll reels. Anyway, 2 weeks before...
I knew it. It's another case of cannabis-related addiction and mania. That's just there to annoy all the people that like to smoke weed. They get so mad. They get so mad when you tell them that weed is bad for any reason, and it's so funny.
Lance's first nest phase, when the apartment was mostly normal, Tyler moved in with Lance because he just dropped out of college and was tired of living with his parents.
That's
he had been working with his dad
exactly.
at a stone cutting business where they'd install countertops. Tyler was kind of your normal blue-collar Utah guy. Most conversations with him, he'd talk hunting, camping, gaming, and he loved to talk about fishing. Now, first off, the combination of depressants with cognitive stimulants are leading factors to severe anxiety, paranoia, depression, and even psychosis. And that's without mentioning the documented connection between weed and schizophrenia. Obviously, as I assume most of you know, weed basically has two components: THC and CBD. CBD is not psychoactive, and it's often associated with treatments for anxiety, pain, and inflammation. Meanwhile,
and also scam products that help you go to sleep and shit.
THC is psychoactive, and despite it also having some therapeutic uses in the treatment of nausea and side effects of chemotherapy, THC is the component of marijuana that's associated with symptoms like paranoia, psychosis, and, like previously mentioned, schizophrenia. Now, obviously,
I think I've told about the chat about this before, but like, I have never smoked weed before, and it's not because of any real principle, except I think that my brother was so cringe when he was smoking weed that I didn't do it. Because like, when I was in university, I said I wouldn't do any drugs until I finished university. But then like, people were so cringe about doing it that I just didn't do any weed out of spite, essentially. My brother was so cringe about, and he was like growing weed in the closet, all sorts of things like that, and he became really into it. Like, he made it his entire life, and then he was I mean, I drank alcohol. Like, I don't pretend that I have some sort of moral high ground, because I did get drunk in university and stuff like that. But, and I honestly don't think there's any real difference between alcohol and weed on any level that matters. They're both very bad for you if you do them too much of them, right? But it's just because people were so cringe. The weed culture was so cringe is why I didn't do drugs.
the vast majority of stoners or casual smokers are not exhibiting these symptoms. This is not a typical thing. But in certain people who are predisposed, THC can absolutely trigger a sort of psychotic meltdown, or it can compound with other mental health issues to make them just much, much worse. In Lance's case, it sounds like he was using way too much pot, while simultaneously drinking heavily and scrolling reels. If there's any way someone can derive...
It's like the deadliest combination. Doom scrolling and then anything plus. Like, it's such a waste of time. Because I was really busy today. That's why I kind of fell asleep a little bit before the stream, which is very odd for me. I usually don't fall asleep until like midnight. But then I did spend like 10 minutes doom scrolling. And I was just like, holy shit, what a fucking waste of time. The only content that's good and worthwhile watching on Reels is that company I told you about, Condomaniac, where they're like making sauces and shit. This is the best content. I'm sorry, I have to shill this company. Any UK people in chat? Wait, how do I find this company? Wait, where do I have to go? TikTok, fucking TikTok, right? If I go to TikTok and then I search for, this is the only reason I have, the only reason. I love this sauce company so much. I'm so invested in this sauce company, even though I'll never taste their hot sauce. But it's so addictive.
This jam is extremely hot, but
it's like this. This is their entire. If you've got this like British guy and he's talking about his sauces.
weirdly only mildly spicy. We recently came into a glut of jalapenos from Rwanda, so that meant it was time to make our gooseberry jalapeno jam. This one is another invention.
This is the only single good content that's been in reel form or in scrolling form, and I will check them. I will go to TikTok daily to see if there's a new video out, because I'm so invested in this tiny hot sauce company in the UK that I cannot order from, and I can never taste their products. But you know, if you're a UK person, can you show them support? Because I can't. I just want what's best for them. I want my sauce company to survive. Aloha Snack Bar with a 20 says May 15th to July 26th, Israel IPs were being pinged by Google for the judges in the Charlie Kirk case. The first judge retired, and current judge Tony Gaff took the bench on August 4th. Gaff issued an unprecedented gag order that silenced. What the fuck? Is that true? Or is this some schizo posting? Somebody can tell me more about this, hopefully. Why can't you get the hot sauce, the UK hot sauces? Because I don't want to pay $20 in shipping. I suppose I could actually order the hot sauces if I really wanted to. They have a hot sauce that's based off of a tikka masala. It's like they call it like Naga masala because it's like, you know, the Naga, like the mythical creature, not the people ruining Barcelona.
Psychosis and mania from First Principles, this is definitely up there. Now, in my original video about this topic, I mentioned that there were two specific periods of change for Lance and Tyler by extension. The first was 2020, when the pandemic hit, locking everyone inside their houses and apartments, and therefore driving them to spend a lot more time on the old computer. And as the Discord logs are going to show later, it's probably when Lance and Tyler started to communicate the most frequently.
This guy has the most Pennywise, like, soulless face I think I've ever seen, because he has like that. Who's the guy that plays Pennyworth? Pennywise? Pennyworth is Batman's butler, right? Pennywise is the clown, you know? He's got this because like he can do the thing where he can actually this isn't CGI or anything. The guy that plays Pennywise in the It movies, and I guess the upcoming It series, which I'm actually looking forward to, and I really hope it's good. Please be good. He can like move his eye in one direction, so he's got this weird thing. But he's like, this guy's got this like if we were just to take this man's face and throw it in the old crime lab, right? And then we, you know, put some lines down like this, some clown makeup, you know what I mean? And then he's got his, like, that's some real clown shit with this eye going off in the other direction. He has blue eyes, chat. One blue this way, the other blue that way.
Even if they were already gaming and talking prior. The second period was during 2024, which is when Tyler moved into the apartment with Lance. And as their anonymous peer here is saying,
during the first nest phase. When he keeps saying nest, I'm thinking of like Howl's Moving Castle when he's like transforming into a bird and literally has a nest. Let me see. During the first nest phase, he started working very rarely. So he's broke. He's unemployed. He worked with his dad for a tub repair company. I hope they weren't making Troonshine in those tubs. Oh, we already saw this. We already saw this one before.
Weeks of Tyler being there, Lance began his nest phase, as he puts it. Funnily enough, the one other instance I've ever heard of making a nest in your living room comes from Theo Vaughn talking about what he did during binges of the white dust kind of stimulant, if you know what I mean.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I've made a nest before, but like when I was a kid, it was so much fun. Like Sunday morning, we would just get all the blankets and like pull them into the living room and make these big nests and then just watch like cartoons and stuff. Or we'd watch this show called What Now? And What Now was on Sunday, I think. And then Squirt was on Saturday morning, where it's just like a variety show with a bunch of different cartoons. Pretty good times. Not dino nesting. But nesting for that's too degenerate. That's too degenerate. Nesting is for pregnant women. No, it's cozy. Like if it's like it's getting cold right now. Like today was pretty chilly actually, and like it's getting harder to get out of bed. So I'm thinking more and more about making nests. But I sleep so much better in winter and in autumn. It's autumn now, but it's coming towards winter because like the heavy blanket, you know, like when you've got like one blanket because it's like summer, It just doesn't feel right. When you've got like 2 or 3 blankets in winter, it's so heavy, you just feel like you're in place. I know that they make weighted blankets specifically for this, but I've never bought one. It seems silly to buy a weighted blanket, but it probably sounds really cozy.
I remember that. I'll make a nest in my living room, dude. Boy.
And more than anything else you can think of.
Turn you into a damn owl, homie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You'll be out on your own porch, you know?
Yeah.
While this description is obviously played up in its context, it's actually a pretty common experience to start hoarding while in states of paranoid mania, which is what Lance appeared to be going through. From his Reddit history, we know that Lance used to be a big fan of Jordan Peterson, who is widely known as the clean your room guy, repeatedly harping on how your living space reflects your psyche. If this leaker
he has two lav mics as well.
Is telling the truth, then it would make sense that as Lance's mental state deteriorated, so did the physical space around him. With all of that information regarding Lance being corroborated by these messages, we also have the reveal that Tyler had dropped out of college and decided of his own volition to move out. In my original video, we had the information that he was in an electrical apprenticeship program at Dixie Technical College. But based on these messages, it seems he dropped out and was just working at a masonry business with his dad.
Wait a second. He's been busy working with his dad at a stone cutting business? This sounds like some masonry bullshit. Stone cutting? Freemasons? What's the connection, chat?
Again, this matches the picture of Tyler that one can derive from all of the testimonies regarding what kind of person he was. So after about 5 years or so of being friends with Lance, he decides to move in with him. But at this point, there's no sign that the two are engaged in a romantic relationship. Their peer continues. I felt super bad when he first moved in with Lance because it was normal for like 2 weeks, and then Lance went nuts, and the entire downstairs just became his nest. He'd be doing experiments in the kitchen, which were mostly just growing mold in Tupperware mugs, and the kettle with random Temu trinkets and rocks submerged in them. Every once in a while,
what? He's putting his Temu trinkets in the kettle? What the fuck? What if I want to make coffee? Aspen Fallen says nesting is 100% an Omegaverse term. What the fuck is the Omegaverse? Is this like? Please tell me this is not tangentially related to the Dabbleverse, or is it like another group of people? Oh, I see. It's like boiling the plastic bags. So he's getting the Chinese plastic shit that's full of estrogen and then boiling it in the kettle to try. I see what that actually might be what the case was. Hold on a second. Let's go back.
Growing mold in Tupperware.
Random team and rocks submerged. Yeah, I mean that's actually maybe a very good answer. Actually, like seriously, he may have been because they literally boil plastic bags to try and get out the xenoestrogens from them. I'm not joking. This is a real thing.
Mugs and the kettle with random Temu trinkets and rocks submerged in them. Every once in a while, I'd try to have a talk with Lance and try to get him to realize he needed help without making him go ballistic. Now, this is actually bizarre.
He needed to kick the shit out of him. When people can't leave the nest, you got to beat them up.
The things I didn't pay that much attention to in my first video about this was that Lance made 2 posts regarding growing fungi, one of them in r/mushroom growers and another one of them in r/shrooms. However, they were very brief non sequiturs that didn't at all give the impression of how deeply invested Lance.
Hold on, chat. I just got an email that's either very good or very bad. Should I read it? And then either have a very sad remainder of the stream or a very bad one? Oh, shit. It's on, chat. It's happening, chat. It's happening. Remember I told you that there was like a job I was excited about because somebody that I like contacted me and they offered me a job? I got it. Oh, shit. No, it's not the body cam. Sorry, it's not that good news. Probably got to wait a year for that, at least. But it looks like I'll be heading up to I might be heading up to around the Fukushima area in mid-November now. Awesome. Cool. Good for me.
Was into growing mushrooms, which apparently he was, at least during...
Oh, the Dino Museum? There is actually a Dino Museum well, I shouldn't say that, but there's a dinosaur museum in Fukui in Japan. I could go there anytime I wanted, actually, I suppose.
His episodes. The interest in mushrooms peaking when Lance is at his craziest reminds me of the Cult of the Lamb Cordyceps that takes over one of the characters and makes him want to grow more mushrooms. This is extremely...
But I mean, that's just regular cordyceps, though. That's how they work.
Strange behavior. But my personal autism aside, the messages continue. I'm not going to say it was all just him being insane. His mom is super Mormon and also kind of crazy, so there's that. And all of the drugs. Weed, LSD, shrooms, DMT, and I think he said Molly, but I'm not sure. Also, alcoholic levels of alcohol. Lance has always been a little weird and quirky, but never really crazy. He was constantly arguing with his mom every time he saw her, and then ranting about Republicans and Mormons when he got home. I'd sometimes talk with him for like 4 hours of him just ranting about his mom and family. He really hates Mormons. Also, at the time, politically, Lance and I would both probably describe ourselves as libertarian, and Tyler was very apolitical.
So it seems like that Tyler was just like this empty slate that he poured all of his hate for Republicans and anti-Shroon activists like Charlie Kirk, and that's like radicalized this guy that was just like had no soul apparently. Maybe he lost his soul to all of the shrooms or some shit that he was sharing with his roommate.
On his Reddit account, there is one relatively old post about Lance having substance abuse problems, and you could assume that due to him no longer posting about it, he no longer struggled with it. Apparently, it was the opposite, as over time, it only got worse. And it's really the mention here of DMT that stands out to me. While the other drugs are bad enough and can permanently damage your brain, especially in combination with each other, even people who like DMT will tell you about how careful you have to be about using it, even if you try your best to do it in a therapeutic setting. But clearly, Lance was in no state of mind to
I thought it was like, was that, well, no, I'm thinking of LSD, I suppose.
Manage his substance intake in any way that resembled healthy. It almost freaks me out how easily someone like Lance could get his hands on that kind of thing, despite being completely out of his mind for months on end. This set of messages also confirm another suspicion of mine expressed in the first video. Prior to 2024, neither Lance nor Tyler were particularly political, as they only ever expressed opinions that could be loosely classified as socially liberal, which most young Zoomers are by default anyway. However, this changed suddenly and drastically during the year that they lived together. He had his nest phase for probably 3 to 4 months before he sort of went back to normal. But at the tail end of his nest phase, after we had both talked for a while, he told me he was trans, and that it wouldn't change anything, and that I could even use whatever pronouns, and he wouldn't care.
So man goes to college, he buys a bunch of shit on Temu, he goes into a nest phase, and he emerges from his nest as a trans. Interesting. I wonder what the connection is there.
Next week and a half, the living room got dismantled. He vacuumed and cleaned the kitchen a bit, but he still kept one mold experiment outside for some reason. It was kind of relieving to not see so much trash lying around. We weren't allowed—
What the fuck is the mold experiment, though? Like, unironically, what is that? Is he trying to grow like some sort of weird shit? Like, is it just like a sourdough starter or something that's being misidentified as or is it like he's trying to grow like psilocybin mushrooms or some crap?
To toss even the most mundane trash like napkins and Taco Bell sauce packets, which there was an entire drawer of. So seeing all the cans and bottles disappear was super nice. Whenever we came over, people commented on how it's nice that we could hang out without being scared of accidentally touching trash or a trinket and having Lance freak out. We'd have a mostly weekly Magic the Gathering night at the apartment where everyone would come drink, get high, and play Magic. Lance started attending again after he became mostly normal. It's interesting to see.
So he's like, his levels of abnormal are so high that when he was able to just play Magic the Gathering, he was seen as normal again. I don't feel so good, Magic the Gathering bros.
That him identifying as trans came while he was in his nesting phase, but he maintained it after it had ended. It does startle me a bit how basically all of Lance's friend group, who frequently visited Lance and Tyler's house, just kind of tolerated this going on for months. I have no idea how it's possible to put up with a situation so clearly deranged for that long, but hey, different strokes for different folks.
This is creating an environment where everyone thinks that it's like every lifestyle is acceptable and that everyone's on their own journey and they've got their own thing. It's like, no, when people are acting weird, they need something to help them, right? If someone's creating a nest in your living room rather than, say, their bedroom, you got to have a talk with them. That's how it works.
Now, it's this next set of messages that I find really interesting. Between all of his turns while playing Magic, Lance would go hang out with Tyler, and we'd have to call him to the tables every time it was his turn. One of my gym buddies was the first to pick up on Tyler and Lance being really close. I was in denial for months because I thought Tyler was straight, and also I kind of did not want it to be true. Eventually, I kind of snapped out of it like the nth time I saw them asleep, cuddling on the couch. I kind of...
The boys are just cuddling on the couch, perfectly normal stuff. They're not gay, they're straight as fuck. They're straight AF, okay? They're just having cuddle time, okay? They're just giving each other bro jobs, okay? They're not gay. All right, they're gay. It's all gay. They're gay, chat. Oh dear, the gym buddy, the spotting bro, just cuddle bros. Oh no, say it ain't so.
Didn't think too much of it since Lance would get super cuddly every time he got drunk, which is how I think they got together, because I'm pretty sure Tyler was a virgin when he moved in. So probably when Lance was in the cuddly mood, probably something happened. But that's just my guess. This is where a lot of things start clicking together.
This is why you have to teach your children to have self-esteem. You got to teach them that they've got to have standards, because otherwise they go to college and the first weirdo nesting Timo trinket collecting femboy that comes up and cuddles with them just takes over their entire personality, because they've literally had no other contact in their entire life. This could have all been avoided if they just taught this kid some self-esteem. Maybe that's the case, Chad. I don't know. Maybe he was just doomed from the start, who can say.
Tyler, an introverted gamer who, as far as anyone could tell, had no prior relationships of any significance, spent 4 months living with his best friend, Lance, who
What games do you think he was playing? I guarantee you he's maining Mercy on Overwatch. That's the real culprit here. You got to check to make sure your kids aren't playing support in multi game, like multiplayer games or like squad based games. If you go in there and they're playing like tank, that's pretty base. They're probably going to be a CEO or something. If you go in there and they're playing DPS, you might have to be a little bit worried about them. You know, if they're playing like Reaper or something, then it's like 50-50. You know, maybe flip a coin. If they're playing Mercy. If you're like watching your Saturday Night Football and you hear from the background Heldensteiber or whatever the fuck she says, then you got to have some problems. You're gonna have to be, that boy ain't right. You're gonna have to go up there, slap him, and tell him to start playing a real hero like Tracer. And if Tracer's already picked, then he's got to play Farah, I guess. That's a very masculine character, Farah, the Rocket Queen. A mega voice is a BL thing. Is BL boy love? Are you really in Japan? Yeah, but I just live by myself. I'm a hikikomori.
Apparently got overly cuddly with everyone while drunk, and simultaneously had the proclivity to drink too often. It's not surprising that this was the outcome of a touch-starved virgin gamer living in the same house as a touchy-feely, seemingly manic trans person. However, a while after Lance had mostly gone back to normal, things started to intensify again.
That first 2 months of Overwatch was so good. Oh my goodness. It really like scratched that itch. It was so much fun. Oh my goodness, it was so much fun playing Overwatch. Until they made it shit. I think when they added that Latino hacker character, that's when Overwatch turned to shit. That's when I can remember it as being bad. Oh my goodness. I can tell you about Overwatch. The times that we had. But then all of the characters, they literally made all the characters gay and lame in the extended universe. It was such a potential for that game to have a good story and interesting characters and things, but they ruined everything. It was fun for fun. No, it's more fun than that. Although I did have my annoying friend, who I've mentioned on the stream a couple of times. He would play no other character but Junkrat. And every time he went drinking in Kyoto, he would just be doing holy dolies. It was, and he's not Australian, so it's very frustrating. It was stealing my culture. It was appropriation, I tell you. Maybe he just wanted to be my friend because I was playing Roadhog a lot. That was those Roadhog combos, the hook combo until they nerfed it was so much fun.
Noticing changes in Lance's political views as the presidential election got closer. He amped up the complaints of old people staring at him, which probably was because he dressed like a stoner and not because he was female presenting, because all he did in that department was grow out his hair and wear mascara every once in a while. He also hated that the construction workers would misgender him, which I thought was weird since he said he was fine with any pronoun. Tyler wouldn't really get political until after the election. He'd sometimes just casually bring up the latest thing Trump had done and complain about what it'd do to the country, but in a very level-headed way. Before the election, Lance's friend group was the quirky LGBT group with a lot of mental illnesses. Not saying the two.
I mean, you don't have to be redundant here. He could have just said LGBT group.
Were linked, but that's how my friends knew them. They're the people who are in Lance's server for the most part. After the election, they became a lot more political, but not to an extremist level. By this point, I could safely say Lance and Tyler were some flavor of left-wing, while I'd become tired of politics and mostly apolitical, but never anything I thought was like dangerous. At some point, they told me about their relationship and were pretty open about it after that. It became very uncomfortable for me because while I don't think of myself as homophobic, seeing two dudes constantly make out was a bit much. Also, since
you see, this is the thing. This is very relatable. This is very, very relatable. Like, because most people aren't homophobic. They just don't want to see dudes kissing in front of them. They just don't want to see beards rubbing against beards. It's really that simple. Like, probably people wouldn't even have that big problem with like pride parades if they weren't just doing degenerate shit all day, every day. Like, if it was just like a regular parade with regular people, that'd be fine. Nobody would give a shit. But every time there's like a pride parade, it's like, check out our bondage gear. And it's just like, I'm not homophobic, but
Lance's room was always super messy. They would bang in Tyler's room, and I didn't like hearing it. I cannot imagine how much it sucked to be in this guy's shoes. Well, this is a bit out of character.
Technically, that's homophobic, adverse to gay stuff. No, it isn't. I don't hate I mean, I'm not afraid of them. I just don't like them. That's what I was going to say. I mean, oh my goodness, arachnophobic. I guess that must mean you want to fuck spiders. No, just joking.
Character for Tyler, who's been consistently described as reserved, it does match Lance's behavior of being overly transparent and letting other people, even people who randomly visited him, see into his intimate life to a point where it's concerning. It's also fitting that Lance's pre-existent paranoid behaviors were now manifesting in correlation to his gender, as despite not being particularly female presenting or being concerned with being seen and treated as a woman, he still took issue with anyone who perceived him.
Hydrophobia is not just fear of water, just that the material rejects water. Yeah, because like rabies, right? Like you can't. That's the clinical name for rabies is hydrophobia, because you can't drink water or something, or at least your body becomes adverse to it. Interesting factoid there.
As a man, people who are paranoid often assume others look upon them negatively, no matter how asinine the reason may be. Clearly, Lance's mental state was deteriorating, and whether intentionally or not, he was dragging Tyler along with him. And this became increasingly transparent over time. Their mutual acquaintance continues. Lance started becoming more and more erratic again until, at the end of December, he just had another nuclear meltdown after having another argument. Also, a couple months before, we noticed Lance had been growing breasts and said that he'd been taking black market HRT, which I do not know.
So it's true and shine. It's true and shine. Clinically, phobia means irrational fear. I don't know what to believe, Danielle. One chat said this, the other chat said that. Chat's always right. Who do I believe? You see the position that I'm in. But yeah, black market actors, so literally subscribing to the Keffel's true and shine. That's like the person in chat who predicted that he was boiling the Temu toy trinkets is almost certainly correct, that he was trying to extract xenoestrogens from Chinese crap.
What that entailed, but I think it was making him very erratic. So he basically shut down for like 2 weeks, not talking, just hitting his vapes in the living room in the dark. So here we have the mention of possibly one of the most concerning details about what kind of substances Lance was on at this point in time. Taking synthetic hormones of any kind, whether the kind and quantity your body already produces or not, is extremely dangerous and can cause pretty much every kind of health issue imaginable, including mental. Even if you're a guy and you take just a little bit of testosterone, you can suffer all kinds of side effects. So
whoa. Turkey Tom, I'm not sure you can say this, okay? These are safe and effective. There's no side effects according to the mainstream. According to the liberals, right? There's nothing. You can just you can just be on puberty blockers forever. It'll be fine. Nothing bad could happen. But this is true though. Like even if you take like a little bit of testosterone, your balls shut down, you probably get like pimples and shit. When I was back reading The Fit in the days, I never even crossed my mind to do like anabolic steroids or anything, but I was curious to see what they were talking about, and it just seemed like garbage. They're just like, yeah, my balls are shrinking, I'm getting acne, I need to take all these other things to block the other things, and I was just like, why are you people doing this? And he's like, because I want to get max gains, God. I just want the gains. The Chad heart size, his heart grew 3 sizes that day. Like this is what testosterone does to you. It makes you like the good version of the Grinch. Let's see, liver cancer, irreversible liver. Wait, what the fuck? The liver is one of those, like, irreversible liver damage is crazy because like the liver can regenerate from basically nothing. It's like the hardest working organ in the entire fucking body, the liver. Like the people literally cut their livers in half and then like donate half their liver to people. Maybe, I don't know. Skin becomes jaundiced, so it's not mine. I'm okay. You know, I'm not taking it. Kidney stones. I'm never going to get kidney stones because I go on a roller coaster at least once a year. That's the secret. Like this is unironically not medical advice, but allegedly, if you go on a roller coaster, it juts around your kidneys just enough that it dislodges all the kidney stones. And this is so effective that Big Thunder Mountain in Disneyland, people literally go there just to make sure they don't get kidney stones. Now, we don't have Big Thunder Mountain. Actually, we do have Big Thunder Mountain in Japan, but it's in Tokyo Disney Sea, which is really frustrating because Tokyo Disney Sea is actually not even in Tokyo. It's in Chiba. but nobody cares about that. But no, I go to like the flying dinosaur at USJ, so I'm never going to get kidney stones because I just use a roller coaster at least once a year. So there's a fun fact to you. I think no, this is true. This is absolutely true, and I'm not gonna search for it off screen to verify this fact. Let's see. Can they call the roller coasters jet coasters in Japan? The jet coaster. Prevent kidney stone. Well, I mean, it doesn't prevent them. It removes the baby kidney stones that haven't been big enough to be bad yet. All right, let's see what it says. It says yes. It says yes. Study. No, roller coasters cannot prevent kidney stones, but studies show that riding a roller coaster may help you pass very small ones, especially when seated in the back. The vibrations of the ride can help dislodge small stones under 5 milliliters. There you go. I was technically correct.
Obviously, in Lance's case, the risks are much greater by default, and it's made exponentially more dangerous given the circumstances. This is
like, unironically, just drink more water. But yeah, if they like, so what the article actually said that I just read off screen was that, yeah, you can't prevent kidney stones, but the small ones that are they're just babies before they become like annoying to piss out, they can be dislodged if you have enough vibration. So it's not always one roller coaster, but a couple should be, and it's fun. It's fun to go to the theme park. So there you go. There you go. Thank you for the 2.
Someone who has proven himself to be delusional, chronically sleep deprived, and prone to overdoing substances. There is simply no chance he was mentally well enough to manage and administer dosages of any kind, let alone procure or produce untainted bathtub HRT. While studies on this stuff are hard to come by, there have been a few documented cases of people in similar situations to Lance.
This is like so controversial. I'm even surprised that Toki Tom would be showing this. Adverse effects of gender-affirming hormonal therapy in transgender persons. I said, like, this is actually quite shocking that he would show this on his channel. I guess the climate of the YouTube has changed.
For example, there's one case of a person in their early 20s with a history of depression and psychosis who self-induced drug intoxication via HRT, which led to a worsening of their psychosis and all of their other psychiatric disorders. Uncoincidentally, this is when Lance becomes more unhinged than ever before, as his peer continues to allege. I thought he kind of started going back to normal after that because he started talking again, but I was so wrong. I had another magic night at the end of January, so even though Lance was...
This is so funny out of context, but he's talking about Magic the Gathering. I had a magic night at the end of he means he was playing Magic the Gathering.
Wasn't completely fine. I just kind of did it to test the waters. I should have guessed because the nest was starting to form again. He was watching Doctor Who in the living room, and so I thought if he was just doing that, he'd be fine. But people started to show up and talk before.
Which version of Doctor Who, though? Like, is he watching Christopher Eccleston? Is he watching David Tennant? Because that's okay. Matt Smith, that's okay. Is he watching the new Doctor Who? If he is, that's a really bad sign. You're not going to make it.
Before we started, and he just started yelling at us from the other room to shut up, which we thought was a joke since this was standard Magic Night procedure. He yelled again, and then we got quiet until enough people showed up to start a game. During the game, one of my more autistic friends started to bring up transgenders in sports. He literally couldn't get any further than those 2 words before Lance yelled at him to shut up from the other room. And to everyone's amazement, he tried to bring it up like 3 more times in rapid succession, being shouted down literally not even a second after he started his sentence every...
I mean, this is how they argue, though. It's like, but wait a minute, because like I don't dislike trans people. I just, because I'm a live and let live sort of person. I think if you want to do something to your body, you should be able to go ahead and do it. But I draw the line at promoting this to children and trans people invading female-centric spaces. Like that, like that's fine. If you want to do all the hormones, you want to chop off body parts, you want to wear dresses, that's fine. Just do it to yourself. Like you have the freedom to harm yourself in my worldview. But that doesn't mean you have a right to go invade these other spaces that are reserved for different people that you're not. It's just simple as, right?
every time. It became a very awkward game. It's pretty funny to think back on now. Bro could not take a hint. After that, more people showed up, and we started having 2 games going, and the mood mostly stabilized, and Lance just came in with sort of a loopy grin and a bottle of something. I'll summarize this part briefly since this person goes into a bit of detail about what happened, but Lance proceeded to throw this guy's extra rare magic cards around to try and get his attention, and afterwards, he went upstairs, at which point...
No, I don't think they should be paying... I said they should be able to do it with their own money. But there's a lot of healthcare that I don't agree with as well, that I don't want to pay for, but I do, because I have to.
everyone started hearing loud thumping. Apparently, Lance had gone into a temper tantrum so intense that he was literally thrashing around on the floor, which hopefully was just a tantrum and not some kind of seizure, because
I have not seen anyone have a tantrum in so fucking long. Like, I think I'm trying to think. The last person I saw have a tantrum was literally a 2-year-old. But there are actually adults in America today that have tantrums when they don't get their way. No, wait, I did see an adult have a tantrum on like a YouTube video, but I don't think that counts, right? Unless you see it in real life. Apparently, Anissa, iDubbbz' husband or wife, has temper tantrums. We're going to get back to the Anissa stuff at some point because like they've been doing some funny shit. But I think the Kino Casino has just cornered the market on making fun of iDubbbz, and they're so good at it. So it's like, when you see someone being a master at something, you're like, oh, why should I bother?
at this point, Lance is really a prime candidate for that to happen. Their peer continues. After that, Lance went mental. I'd get to Lance and Tyler's place, and he'd be super wide-eyed with either a loopy grin or a rictus grin, like the Joker, depending on his mood. The next...
What is a rictus grin? I'm the Joker, baby. Rictus grin. I've never heard that before. I mean, like he was it's just like an extreme grin, or like if you're pulling it up by the sides. Or like, okay, I see. So it's just like a superly overly extended, stretched out skin smile. Okay, that's a very specific word I've never heard before. Might be useful for Wordle. Actually, no, it's like too long.
Came back full force, and Lance started living downstairs full time again. This is a picture of a kind of cleaned up version. Imagine this type of mess.
Wait, I've lived a sheltered life if I've never heard that before? Oh my God. Oh my God. How many people? First of all, how many people have heard of a rictus grin? Second of all, it is you, sir, who has lived a sheltered life because you don't understand that there are people who live in different countries and they don't have the same shared experience as you. Like, unironically, like I've never been to America, and there's all these American phrases that I've never heard before. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? And they're like, oh my goodness, everybody knows that phrase. It's like, no, I've never been to America. When I do a poll in the chat, no, actually, if I do that, I'm doing the poll. The chat's gonna betray me though, but let me see. Have you heard the word rictus? Okay, there we go. Yes or no? Just a simple poll. You're from India, and you know rictus? Go back to India. Ego damaged. Poll time. The chat is gonna blow me the fuck out though. This used to be actually no, like I don't mean to be mean or anything, but like this was so funny when we were living in all together in the mansion place with BP and our friend our British friend, because like we all had these different phrases that were just like normal to us, and we would use them, and then each of us would be like two of the groups would be like, what? Like actually the chat's voting with me so far. Almost 70% of the poll has never heard of the word rictus before. Okay. Does it have to be in context? Because there was a wand in some game called the Rictus Wand. I'm going to search for this right now, and based on the game that I find, will determine whether you stay here. Rictus Wand. Let's have a look. The Tickling Charm, Harry Potter Wiki. Rictusemptra. You're on thin ice. D&D 5th edition. I'll allow it. I'll allow it for now. I'll allow it for now. I do have pretty bad reading skills, though. That's true.
But denser and all over the living room and kitchen counters. He started playing on his DS and drawing stuff in, I think, Pitcho chat, and scribbling it all out while giggling with the wide-eyed Joker smile. He'd either be doing this, or his experiments, or
That's
talking with
though.
ChatGPT day in and day out.
This is a big fucking red flag. And I've been I'm actually concerned about this for the future. Like, this is maybe like an old person moment. First of all, like, speaking of AI, somebody said something very funny the other day. It's like old people are so unprepared for AI. And if you know anything about the Facebook epidemic of AI at the moment, it's very true. Like boomers are so unprepared for AI. It's like smallpox reaching America. They have no natural defense to it, and they're just going to be absolutely slaughtered by AI. But like the people that like just talk to ChatGPT, that's a red flag. Like I know there's a lot of lonely people out there, but like if you're just talking to ChatGPT, you should stop. There's something really sinister and soulless about doing this, like talking to these chatbots that are just programmed to keep you using them. Basically, well, they're not really programmed to do that, but this is what they do: is they just tell you what you want to hear, so that you stay on their site longer and keep training them data. This actually happened with my girlfriend. She was like started talking to ChatGPT for a couple of days, and I was like, "Listen, you got to start. This is not going to be good for you." She's just sending me funny stuff. Like she just found it because Japan is like years behind every other country. She's like, "This is so funny. Look, I asked it a silly question and it gives me a silly answer." I'm like, "Look, you gotta put down the phone. You gotta put down the phone." Make ChatGPT and Grok fight. That'd be funny, I think. But unironically, I have a big concern, especially for like young people who they're like in their teens, they've got phones and they just ask ChatGPT for everything. I know a lot of people parody this. Like I think South Park did an episode about it. But like there are going to be this group of people that grow up just using ChatGPT for everything and finding all of their self-esteem comes from ChatGPT, all of their knowledge comes from ChatGPT, all of their everything, their personality comes from ChatGPT. Those people, I have some big worries about those people. That's going to be a big bombshell in like 10, 15 years.
Hardly ever slept. The experiments got scarier too. Like jugs of water with a whisk full of aluminum foil that had 2 copper wires coming out of them.
What the fuck? Jugs of water with whisks, with a whisk full of aluminum. What the fuck are they trying to do here? Is this like, are they trying to do like homemade electroplating? Any of the scientists in chat, can you tell me what this is for? This feels like some sort of electroplating thing, experiment. Hydrogen? That's pretty bad, right? What is the process of extracting hydrogen from water called? Is that just like is that just called electrolysis or something?
The water was clear one day, and at some point, I think the wires got plugged into the outlet because the water turned brown and the aluminum foil was pretty burnt. He also started leaving little papers around the house that he had scribbled on while doing that giggling thing. It's at this point that our leaker here sent...
This is pretty disturbing shit. I would get out of the house. Hydrolysis? That makes more sense. Hydrolysis. You know, actually, I think Yakushima had like a factory or a lab for making hydrogen gas for cows or something using hydrolysis.
An extensive set of pictures he'd taken of...
Whoa, buddy. This is like, I don't know, this is almost like too perfect for like the... And this is just the roommate. This is even the killer.
The state of the apartment and the notes Lance left around.
This is the
First
boyfriend.
is an image of their magic table, completely vandalized with garbage.
He's got these little Arduino boards over here. What the fuck is going on here? Was this like, he's got like a little hot glue gun over there. That's the only thing I'm recognizing. He's got some Lego pieces. There's a battery over here. Is he trying to do like battery burning for like art? This is pretty, and that's a notepad over there with the creepy drawings in it. Like this is some weird shit. The Wokonomicon. That's pretty funny.
That mostly resembles electrical stuff, which is odd because Tyler was the one in an electrical apprenticeship program, not Lance. In the background, we can see what looks to be some kind of aquarium or big glass container with rocks in it, which...
Isn't that like a frog sticking on the back of the wall?
May be the mold experiments mentioned in the messages. Underneath it is what looks to be a package for a rock tumbler, which makes sense given that Tyler occasionally did masonry with his dad. But it's when we move to what's actually on the table that things get increasingly bizarre. And we have isolated pictures of all of the particularly interesting items. I'm going to say right now that I'm actually a specialist in literally nothing, so this is just going to be me trying to interpret these to the best of my abilities, and the screenshots I'll be looking at will be made available in the description for those of you who want to take a look for yourself and see if you can extract some sense out of the madness of Lance's post-it notes. The first one we'll go over is this one, which contains a set of spiral-like scribbles that may be disconnected attempts at making the Glock logo, given the squared spiral G and the word lock near it. Right above this, there's also what looks to be the small phrase E equals T, and elsewhere on the note, I can also make out the words regent and temp, although I have no idea if this is alluding to anything in particular. On the right...
I mean, I will play devil's advocate for a second here. when I was younger, I would also make scribblings that was trying to make like cool weird shit, but I was literally just trying to make like cool weird shit. It didn't really have any meaning. But this is pretty weird. I'll admit. Like for me, I was basically, because I was like the only person in my class that played Warcraft 3, so I was always doing like the big bad voodoo, like troll. I think I'm trying to remember. It was like this. It was kind of like this, and there was like it had like the cross there, and there was like the shield was on it, and there was like the explosion coming, something like that. I was always doing like the big bad voodoo, ultimate from Warcraft 3 Witch Doctor. That was a lot of fun. The Bloodlust logo, which I think was like that as well. It's kind of like the diamond. Oh fuck, I can't remember now. It was like this. It's like this, right? It almost looked like a ghost from fucking not Harry Potter, fucking Pac-Man. Autism. I was just drawing cool things that looked like cool shit to me.
Right side of the image, another post-it has the sentence, all of separate, underneath what looks to be the portmanteau, no linguals. This is very rough to make out, obviously, but bilingual means that someone knows 2 languages. Monolingual means that someone knows 1. Therefore, no lingual would mean someone who knows no languages, or someone who is nonverbal. The next set of scribbles is a bit more cohesive, although I'm using that word pretty
Stop looking for others. That's kind of weird.
Loosely here at this point. Here we can see stop looking for others at the top and Terraria Buggin Tear Ableist in the middle, which I think may be some wordplay with terrible and ableist. At the bottom of this page, and
I mean, well, it looks like they had a terrarium though, so I think it could be like bugs that they were keeping in the terrarium.
Illustrated version of the word sine wave is written above lose it at the tude, next to a picture of some bizarre looking animal. This at the tude bit to me,
it's clearly a fish with legs,
is very reminiscent of how
little cactus man over here too.
Schizophrenic people will break words down and obsess with syllables, word morphology, and portmanteaus. There's another example of this in one of the post-it notes where he writes, I'm alone, obviously doing what I'm talking about here. On another page, we have Monsumus Sumptuous right at the top.
Oh, I get it, like I'm alone, but it's like I'm alone. I see.
Followed by SFTU Piteous, which I assume is like shut the flip up, idiots, maybe. Further down the page, there's a rough sketch of America with the number 21.0 inside.
I thought this was a rabbit. It literally is.
Of it. And nearby, phrases like go to the store and small box, go listen to act. A lot of this stuff reads like Lance is just writing his mundane thoughts or whatever he's seeing on his phone in the most cryptic and insane way possible, but some of it does stand out to me as potentially meaningful or at least consistent. On a post-it note, he writes down TY and miss my BF, obviously in reference to Tyler. On another one, we have stop crying, stop stopping, and in one of the pages, we have the phrase full stop, very jagged at the bottom, although this may be bull or something else.
This is obviously a prescription for penicillin. I have some medical experience.
On this page, there's something pretty interesting, as the words federated and fed-related are right next to what looks to be the word CIA, and further down, a drawing of 4 symbols that ever so slightly resemble what you'd see on a set of Zener cards. If you're not familiar with what these are, Zener or Zener cards were created in the early 20th century to test if people had extrasensory perception, and much later on, they were frequently reported as being used in gifted and talented education programs.
I actually still have my schizo book, which just where I just write down a bunch of cool shit in it. Actually, I might be able to have. This might be an arm's reach, because I was looking at it the other day. Oops. Let me see if I can find it. It's like over here. Oh, here it is. Yeah, here it is. This is my high school schizo book. I've got a picture of a chemical trooper from Red Alert 2 on the back. And then I made the entire cover out of old movie tickets. It's actually got some good schizo shit in here. See, look, I got like the black and white drawing. I thought this was a cool symbol that I would draw. That was from the game, the black and white game. I got a picture of Jehuti here. Or no, this is Anubis from Zone of the Enders. The Desolator, yeah, it's the Desolator. That's right. You had to be the Iraqi fraction to get it. When I was learning some drawing phrase, I got like my drawing pictures of anatomy and stuff like that. I was trying to draw comics at one point. I was trying to draw. These are actually pretty good, I think. Like I was just copying basically. I was just copying like anatomy drawings, but I think I got pretty good at them. Shame I didn't keep developing that. I could have been really good. Let me see. There's some real cringe stuff in here though too. Like when I was trying to draw this dragon. I mean, it's pretty good. That's a pretty good dragon, I think. But it's so cringe to look at now. But I've got some real schizo shit in here somewhere. Like I've got like things on sign language in here. I've got a bunch of things that are like, oh yeah, here's when I tried making my own schizo language. Like this is my own original schizo language. It was just like based on random shapes and runes that I saw. This is pretty normal stuff, right, chat? This is perfectly fine. I'm okay. There's something cool in here though. Wait, where's the favorite thing that I drew? Oblivion rooms, was it? I mean, I was just copying things from things that I saw. Here we go. I was really proud of this when I made my full-sized Stargate. Well, I was like so happy when I was drawing this, and then my pen dripped over here, which is this dot here. But apart from this, that's a pretty good Stargate, right? Look at that. I had such potential. This is a red flag. Oh my goodness. The red flag stuff is in the back. I didn't show you that. Let me see. Hold on. There's a couple of fun things in here. There's like pages and pages of like random scribblings, see? Where I was like doing research into EG. I thought this was hot shit. Like I was researching EEG patterns, and I was writing down all my notes, and like I was tracing the diagrams and everything. I was like, I thought this was like hot shit. Man, if anyone found this, then I would have been done. Then I've got like I've got like the phase of the moon and the magnetic fields of the earth. I thought this was just cool to have. Like just a book full of all this esoteric knowledge that means nothing. Because I mean it means something, but it means nothing to like a teenager. But I would like I would get like a big cup of coffee on like Friday night or Saturday night. And I would just stay up like basically all night. And then I would just like find esoteric shit. Like I would go to the library and maybe photocopy or print off things that I thought was cool. And then I would like write them down in this book, my schizo book. And then I just thought it was really cool to have. Yeah, the X actually used to be pretty good until it became all about succubuses and shit. Like how do I summon a succubus? That was the worst part. I think there was a lot of fun. There's a lot of empty pages though. I didn't really finish this book off. Jesus Christ. Imagine if someone found this when I was a kid. I even have pages in here that say reserved for some information that I was going to fill in later, but I never did. It was like I think like half of this book is empty, so I wasn't very prolific with my schizo writings. Yeah, the sucky. No, I never believed in all of that thing. Oh, here's the most esoteric knowledge ever. The instructions on how to make a hexaflexagon, which is just like a piece of paper that you can fold over and over again. It's like some origami shit. So there's the esoteric knowledge. I had to save it. I had to save it for future generations, how to fold the hexaflexagon, which I think has a proper name, but that's just what we called it in my school. Oh yeah, here's all their schizo writings. My handwriting used to be much better too. It's gotten really bad over the years. But these ones are all good. This is all esoteric writings. Basically, it's just quotes from June, essentially, and other things. This is a good advice, though. One of these is good advice. It says, "Do not believe a man is dead until you see his body, and even then you can be mistaken." That's good advice from June. That is no way practical. It's fun to reminisce, isn't it? But there you go. I'm a perfectly normal individual. Show us your manifesto. Bold move. That's not going to happen. All right, back to the real schizos. Okay.
There are a lot of conspiracy theories surrounding this topic, some of them being more credible than others, but they typically have to do with the CIA project MKUltra and how Gates may be some kind of offshoot of it. I won't get into the merits of these theories, not only because Wendigoon should be the one to do that, but also because it doesn't really matter as much as the reason why people are drawn to this topic online in the first place. You see, if you check on Reddit, the majority of people who engage in discussions of the nature of Gate programs are people who were in Gate themselves, obviously, meaning they were, at some point, considered to be gifted. You may have already heard—
Should we do a poll of whether this is based or not? 69% of the chat says they'd never heard the word rictus. Okay. All right, let me see. Is schizo books based? We'll see. Maybe I'll read you some more quotes. Some of the advice in that book, though, over there is actually really good to remember, though. Like the best one is the ones from Metal Gear Solid, like always cross the river before insulting the crocodile's teeth. That's a good one.
Heard about this, but there's a sizable
Good to live
phenomenon
by.
of gifted kid burnout, where people who used to be overachievers in their childhood, usually in the academic sense, could no longer keep up as they got older, and so their life spiraled out of control. Part of this phenomenon.
The gifted kid thing is like really interesting because it's like it seems like most gifted kids, they get told that they're special, and that's what makes them not special because they think that they're better than everyone else. So I feel like if you have a gifted child, you just don't treat them any different, right? It's like, oh, you're a gifted kid, you're so special, and then they just like they get to like a really hard thing in like high school, university, and they're like, I'm special. How come I can't get this right? What's going on? And it drives them insane.
Phenomenon is that when they can't get over their attachment to how they were treated when they were seen as special,
Yeah,
they come
exactly,
up with all
basically.
sorts of extraneous reasons to justify their decline and convince themselves that they're still gifted in some way. Given that Lance is quite literally documented on video as a gifted kid, being an adept piano player from a young age, and his life definitely went downhill
That's a
as he
good
got
question.
older, it would make sense for Lance, in one of his weed, paranoia, alcohol, and hallucinogen real maxing binges, to stumble upon this stuff while doom scrolling and decide to scribble about it. This notion that Lance is still attached to the idea he's special or somehow intellectually gifted is later.
My friend from earlier in the stream who used to play Junkrat and would say "Hooly Doly," he was literally a gifted child, and he always talks about his wasted potential. And he's literally in Mensa, like his mother paid for the IQ test, and like he was literally a card-carrying Mensa character. And I always joked about him. And if you're so smart, how come you had to pay a subscription to stay in Mensa? But he gets very upset when I say that.
Corroborated by this anonymous peer. But even just examining his projects, Lance clearly thinks he's doing something.
There's a lot of hot glue I'm seeing here. This is very disturbing. I think this is the difference between a functioning schizo like myself. Look how neat my schizo book is. See? Look at how neat those lines are. But his schizo book is just insane. Also, I think it's pretty base to have a desolator on the back of my book.
Thing here. Among the incoherent scribbles, there's hot glue and electrical wiring and batteries, which leads
I'm not sure this is going to work. The contacts aren't even touching the hot glue.
me to suspect he
Which isn't a
actually
conductor
believed
anyway.
he was putting something together. And maybe some of these scribbles are, at least in his delusional mind, blueprints or rough sketches. At least some of his drawings had symbols that resembled electrical circuit diagrams, some even written on books about electrical stuff like impedance phenomena, while others had mathematical symbols as if he was writing down equations.
Does it say keep memes? Keep memes. Good advice.
Although, of course, none of it actually makes any sense to me.
You can
or
keep
probably
me
you.
streaming
I will
by
say, some of this
gifting
stuff
memberships.
legitimately gets pretty scary. To think that this guy melted his own brain to the point where he was drawing this is horrifying. Besides the consistent appearance of circuit diagram-like straight lines leading to symbols and drawings and references to spirals and spiraling, there's one.
This is actually fascinating, though. Like a look inside the mind of an insane person. It's really quite interesting.
One image in particular that really got my attention. On what looks to be two pieces of cardboard, Lance wrote, hormonal flux dash is way fluctuative, followed by definitely orchid denialism. If you don't know...
God damn it. Hold on a second. All right. I wasn't going to show this. Okay, yes, I was learning anatomy drawing. I wasn't going to show you the lady side, okay? I absolutely shouldn't show you the anime side. But look, okay? I was drawing ladies too, all right? Perfectly nothing wrong with that, okay? I just had to show that because someone linked me a picture saying he's gay because I was drawing men, okay? Oh, dear. Like, honestly, the anime side's really bad. Holy shit. It's really like it's actually like when I look at it now, it's really bad. It's like this is what I like, chat, okay? It's perfectly regular female woman there. Not pay no attention to this side, okay?
Orchid is actually the medical term for balls. So with the context here being him
Right, what is this? All right, we have to go back now. Because I got called out.
Dash is way.
Wait, hormonal flux is the flux
fluctuative, followed by definitely orchid denialism. If you don't know, orchid is actually the medical term for balls. So
Really?
with the context here being him mentioning hormones and of course identifying as trans in the few months prior to Tyler's attack, orchid denialism could be a reference to him outright not acknowledging or recognizing his balls. I can't make any other conclusion besides that one, but as I said earlier, all of the images will be available for you to peruse. And although a lot of it is just random babble, I am hoping that by someone else other than I taking a look at this, there can be some information extracted from these images. The anonymous peer continues. These scribbles look bad, but it's even worse when you saw his face when he was doodling it, combined with the giggling and how vigorously he would scribble. It was very scary. And the way he spoke was weird. It was a bunch of words, but none of them made sense together, or sometimes it'd be in rhyme, or just sometimes he'd only smile and point at things. If I was religious, I would have called an exorcist. The smile was so scary. And he showed me what conversations he was having with ChatGPT. He told me he solved some equation backwards and showed me the ChatGPT text as proof. The chats were just paragraphs of random Greek and I think Roman symbols with numbers and random letters going on and on.
Actually, I have a really schizo drawing because my brother actually asked me to design him a tattoo, and then he gave me a bunch of random things, like things he wanted in it. So I designed this really esoteric. It looks really cultish. It's got like literal runes on it with translations and all sorts of things. It looks pretty cool. It's kind of like a variation of like the. It's like a combination of like the not Bioshock, but Biohazard sort of symbol, but then converted to runes and like different like alchemical symbols and things. It looks really cool, I think, in my opinion. But I never gave it to him because I didn't want him to get a tattoo. Because he wanted to get it on his hand, which is really cringe. I wish I could find that because it's actually, I think, one of the best, most interesting things I ever drew.
Somehow gotten it to respond in kind as well. He told me to start scrolling faster, and so I did. And he kept telling me faster until he was basically screaming at me to scroll faster, and the ChatGPT chats just went on like forever. I was sat there scrolling at max speed for at least like a minute or two, and by the bottom, it was still in the weird symbols. He started yelling at me that Nikola Tesla was abused by the people in his time.
Oh my goodness. Not the Nikola Tesla cope. Here we go. I'm going to be honest, like this is very relatable because I remember reading my first book about the conspiracy theories of Nikola Tesla, and I was like, oh my goodness, if we just let Nikola Tesla be alive, we'd still live like we're living on Mars by now. I was really into Nikola Tesla when I was a kid, and part of this was spurned on by Red Alert because you could build Tesla coils in that game, and then later you could get a Tesla tank. Actually, in fact, in my schizo book, I do have a diagram for a Tesla tank in case we would need to make it one day. In case the future generations were Tesla tankless. Wait, what's the other page? Okay, it's clear. It's fine. See? Wait, where can I... The based Tesla tank. Look at that. So I went through that. I went through this phase as well. But then I, got busy and couldn't have time for these kind of things.
And that no one we knew was smart enough to solve that equation, including me, because he is way smarter than me. This was all in weird, broken up sentences too. Definitely added to the creepy factor. Tyler told me that Lance had basically been up for like 3 days straight talking to ChatGPT at that time. It's interesting that he mentions he'd get an exorcist if he was religious, because when I was going over Lance's Reddit posts, he talks about how once his family threw him out of the house, saying he was possessed by a demon. If this is what they were having to deal with, that becomes a lot more understandable. As far as the ChatGPT conversations in Latin and Greek, another common fixation of people who are schizophrenic is hermeneutics, the interpretation and analysis of biblical texts, often in their original language or as close to it as possible. There are huge online communities for esoteric and occult interpretations of the Bible revolving around sacred geometry or gematria, which, given Lance's...
This is a very specific autism. I really like the, what are they called? The Akashic records. So there's an idea that these schizos have that the Akashic records, I think they're called, I'm probably mispronouncing that. But it's the idea that there's these records that have history of literally everything ever that's going to happen. And if you could just find them, then you could have all information from the beginning to the end of time. The only reason I know about this is because there's a bar near me called Akashic Records where they do magic tricks and stuff.
Repeated use of broken maths in his notes and scribbles may have contributed to his delusions here. Again, this doesn't mean that this was actually happening, but it's a decent guess as to why those two specific languages and equations keep popping up in Lance's activities, despite him showing no interest in foreign or dead languages elsewhere. The messages continue. He'd sometimes just be sobbing in Tyler's arms, and Tyler would be rocking him back and forth. We all thought Tyler was a trooper for putting up with Lance in that state. So the next image attached in these messages is one that I don't think I can show you guys on YouTube, but you will be able to check it for yourself in the description. But it's a used condom on the sink of the bathroom in the common area. We know this photo was taken in their apartment.
It's a dirty fucking sink, by the way. What the fuck is going on? This is like the inside of a British kettle.
Because the counter, sink, toilet, and other details match this photo of their sink taken from a Zillow listing. The same applies to another photo of the table in their living room, which once again matches the Zillow listing.
Wait a second. I saw some detail. The first person that identifies this gets a prize. All right. What magic card is this? I know one of you weirdos in the chat can tell me what this magic card is. This is actually I don't even know if this is a Magic the Gathering card, but I assume this is a Magic the Gathering card, or it's a book on demons. Who knows? Where are we? Here we go. What else is on this table? The empty bottle. He's got his schizo drawings. He's got a weight that was never used. One of them's missing. Is this a frog? This looks like a terrarium. I feel is that, you know, sometimes frogs push themselves up on the glass and they kind of look like this, but I don't know what this is. Trucker Rob says, "Well, howdy me. Wordle sucks. I'm having a god run on Wordle this week. Apart from that time I failed."
Matches the Zillow listing, as we can see that the window with the white blinds is in the same location. As nasty.
These are some fake ass apples too.
A Zillow listing. The same applies to another photo of the table in their living room, which once again matches the Zillow listing. As we
These are why would you have a bowl of plastic fruit? Just buy some actual fruit.
We can see that the window with the white blinds is in the same location. As nasty as this is to even take into consideration, it is worth noting that it is completely empty, which leads me to think that even if Tyler was still engaging with Lance in this way, it was more out of pity or a sense of duty than anything else. The anonymous peer said,
This guy never had a chance. This guy never had a chance. He was sucked into the femboy fantasy world and mind controlled with his MK Ultra schizo doodlings. And this guy went away. He was a patsy for the Troonspiracy.
Engaging with Lance in this way, it was more out of pity or a sense of duty than anything else. The anonymous peer says, crazily enough, while Lance was like that, Tyler was still hitting it. When I told Lance I would be leaving the general area, it was crazy. He snapped back to reality for a second and just thanked me for all the good times we had hanging out throughout the years. After that, I think Lance had been brought back just a little bit, and he even let Tyler take him out of the house to start seeing a psychologist. It almost made me feel bad because, not gonna lie, I was starting to become really apathetic and not really care about what happened. Like, it was just so much energy to try and deal with Lance. Tyler was a real trooper for dealing with him. Lance even calmed down enough for us to hold like 3 more magic nights. We all thought Lance would be okay because he had Tyler, who was basically his handler at this point, to take care of him. Eventually, my friend who lived across the street from their apartment let me know that Lance had gotten into an argument with his grandpa, who owned the apartment, and his grandpa had taken his car away. This,
like that dynamic where you have like the big guy, the big strong guy, and then the small character, and they like a duo in like a video game or a TV show. And you think like the big strong guy is the real threat, but then the little one is like you defeat the big one, and then the little one is the real danger. This is what that situation's like. It's like you think like this guy that shot Charlie Kirk is like this big scary boy, but actually it's this like weirdo goblin that's like controlling him behind the scenes. His roommates, it's just his roommates, faux Shigina enclosure. Faux Shigina. Okay, I see what you did there. Okay, it took me a bit to pass through that one.
I'm not sure about, but I suspect it put him into another one of these spirals. I imagine Lance was just alone with Tyler in the apartment, just driving Tyler crazy. I'd be hard-pressed to stay sane while living alone with Lance while he's like that. I joined a couple Discord calls with Tyler and Lance would say one thing and then be silent, and Tyler would just talk normally. Tyler even joined a call 2 weeks before the assassination and acted completely normal. All of this is really interesting to me because while we did have an inkling that neither Tyler nor Lance were in their right mind by the time the attack took place, it seems like the situation was that Tyler was being subjected to an incessant barrage of genuinely psychotic ramblings from a paranoid and deranged Lance, who had recently become significantly more political. As is customary for people with these kinds of delusions, they start fixating on prominent people, imagining they have some specific relationship to that person, usually that they're being stalked or otherwise directly antagonized by them. This is probably when the name of Charlie Kirk entered the mix, and while it was probably just one among many delusions Lance would probably forget about by the time his episode ended, it seems it seeped into Tyler's mind as the cause of Lance's problems. Obviously, there's the political context of it, with Lance being trans and Charlie being conservative and criticizing the trans community. But judging from the leaked messages between Lance and Tyler, it does seem Lance himself is taken aback and shocked that Tyler did what he did. If I were to guess, Tyler took some of the things Lance must have said while in a state of delusion to heart, while Lance...
Wouldn't that be the ultimate irony if he's like, I did all this, I did it for you, and then Lance was just like, it was all just a joke. I was just being weird ironically because I had no person. Because sometimes people do that. They just act weird because they're having a weirdo personality is better than nobody noticing them.
Already forgotten about them a while later. Their peer concludes his messages by saying, after talking to another friend apparently right after he did the shooting, he joined a bunch of Discord calls asking if anyone had seen the news while breathing heavily. And literally the next day, he was in call just chatting with people while playing his puzzle games. And also for the record, Tyler 100% calls Lance my love when they are talking alone. Hopefully this sheds some light on what it was like behind the scenes. With all of this context provided,
because yeah, this is one of the things is that people are saying is like their language sounded unnatural. It's like, well, this has to be a psyop by the CIA or whatever, or MK Ultra, because nobody actually talks like that. And then I was like, well, young people talk like idiots all the time. And it just turns out they were both like brain dead or something.
I think it's beyond the shadow of a doubt that the last messages exchanged between Tyler and Lance are real. It also elucidates the nature of their relationship, as Lance was someone Tyler was mostly taking care of rather than having a normal relationship dynamic with. From the looks of it, it seems like Lance is someone who, at least at one point, was very self-aware and proactive as a person, being confident enough to argue with others over his worldview, while Tyler has always been quiet.
What was his worldview?
And proactive as a person, being confident enough to...
Let's see. So Tyler says, prepare to be destroyed. He's responded to somebody saying, it's okay to be white. Prepare to be destroyed. Okay, buddy. Okay.
To argue with others over his worldview, while Tyler has always been quiet and stayed in the background of any setting he found himself in, including his relationship with Lance. Unfortunately, it turns out that he was simply less expressive of his thoughts. Now, the leaker also sent me their Discord logs, and this dynamic of Lance being the expressive one while Tyler played a subservient role is also reflected there, as Lance messaged the chats way more frequently and even had his own server. The logs I got are of 3 different servers that Tyler and Lance were parts of. Lance under the name Lanceolotl and Fluxolotl, and Tyler is the name Zealous_Monkey and Bedbug Inspector. These messages date all the way back to 2020, and although most of it is pretty irrelevant stuff and boring, it is kind of spooky to see that at some point these guys were like completely normal, just sending memes to each other on Discord. Interestingly enough, Tyler frequently spoke of going fishing or making fishing trips that lasted for days with no cell service, where he would speak to no one. Well,
some people are saying that these fishing trips are more than just fishing, but I'm not sure. I have heard some rumors say that he's going out to the cabin with the men's or something.
This isn't really negative. It does differentiate Tyler from his peers.
Does sound like no fish. Oh, it looks like he's actually talking about fishing, though. Colorado River from a beaver dam. Okay. Maybe it is actually just fishing.
There's one kind of introvert who stays indoors and plays on the computer, and then there's go fishing in the middle of nowhere with no cell service for days kind of introvert. Still, at least early on, it's clear that the people in this server have no issue with offensive humor and don't necessarily...
When Biden wins and he gets free being black money. Tenor.com monkey money gif. Wait, what a minute? Wait a minute.
Necessarily swing politically in any given direction, although there are a few odd things that I have to note, even if they are just jokes. In mid-2020, someone else in the server tags...
This is an interesting fact, actually, because I have noticed there's something off with this kid. I mean, apart from the fact that he's a murderer. But none of Tyler's smiles in the pictures are genuine. During real smiles, there's wrinkling around the eyes. He shows not. His eyes are very, very creepy. Like, he does have the Pennywise maxing eyes going on.
Lance and says, nobody said gross when you said you wanted to bang your 2-year-old cousin, Lance. The context of this is that the same guy who sent this message said he wanted to bang snake girls, and Lance responded by saying gross. But honestly, this doesn't explain that much. Another interesting tidbit from these chats is when the topic of religion came up, prompting Lance to say, isn't Brigham Young the one with all the quotes about how black people are cursed and can't hold the priesthood until they get uncursed by God? For context, Brigham Young was an early leader of the LDS Church. In response, the person with whom he was talking said that most religions start screwed up, implying that they would get better over time. To which Lance replied, and most still are, basically shutting it down. Long before the gender issue was something Lance was invested in, his earliest strong opinion is a clear anti-religious sentiment. Still, at no point here is there any sign that Lance's opinion is unquestioningly shared by the entire server, as most people here express pretty reasonable and mixed opinions. Around the same time that those messages about Brigham Young were sent, they were discussing politics and video games, but no...
So I'm just thinking about this like stock footage of like the typing on the keyboard sort of thing, because I make some stock footage from time to time, right? And I do have a video of me just typing on a keyboard for like an hour. It's like an ASMR video on one of my abandoned dead channels. What would be the funniest thing you could type on a, because nobody really watches what you're typing in the background. So you could literally type any word as a stock footage and then upload that word being typed over and over and over and over again, chat. Like if I was going to type something like, I could just be typing this. You can't see what I'm typing, okay? You have no idea what I'm typing. Okay, you have no idea what I just typed. Oh shit, was that the screen story? No, it wasn't. Oh, thank God. And then you could upload that as stock footage. Anyway, this is where my stories go. You could upload that as stock footage, and then maybe it would turn up in like a documentary or like a video essay or something. That'd be so funny.
One was really arguing as much as they were just expressing their views
What's
in a
this guy
friendly
typing?
manner. Eventually, Lance says auth-right, lib-left unity, referring to the squares of the political compass of authoritarian right and liberal left. So clearly, politics weren't taken too seriously by this friend group. A little while later, still in 2020, Tyler can be seen commenting on the presidential debate, saying that it was hilarious, but making no further comment. In September 2020, Lance says, Femboy Friday greater than Tomboy Tuesday.
What? Looking for bed, like, bulge? Yeah, I think that was like Tom said that it was like bed bug, but it's obviously typing looking for bed bulge, like King of Pole outlines. Yeah, King of Pole, wasn't he the guy that was like, he was a real weirdo. He loved meeting up with his Aunt Flo, is what I'll say, I guess.
White Girl Wednesday isn't where it's at, followed by White King Wednesday. These seem to purely be jokes, as he showed no signs of identifying as a femboy at this point in time. As a matter of fact, when someone else sends a few messages saying, femboy hypnosis is finally working, my nipples are so puffy, Jesus Christ, Lance responds with 2 long strings of question marks. Although this may 100% be irony on Lance's part,
Vote Jeb is perhaps my favorite meme of all time. The Jeb memes, oh my goodness, there was never a time that Jeb memes weren't hilarious. Everything was so funny. The best meme of all for Jeb. Oh man, we could have made it happen, chat. Like, he can still, this is how Jeb can still win. Okay. Just everybody vote for him. Please clap. I loved it when he was like the pictures of him picking up the chairs. And then they had he was picking up the chairs and cleaning the chairs away. At the Trump rally. And then he had the turtle. He would carry around little turtles in his pocket, and he would give turtles to kids that came up to him and talked to him. So he just had a pocket full of toy turtles. And then he had his terrible guacamole recipe. Didn't it have like no lime juice or some shit in it? It was like the worst guac recipe. Oh my goodness, Jeb was a better time. Like, when Jeb was on the scene, nobody was unhappy.
In November 2020, he sent Vote Jeb to this chat, referencing Jeb Bush's failed and
oh my goodness. Turkey Tom knows as well.
On 2016 presidential campaign. Interestingly enough, at least back in 2020, Tyler seems to be the one who was more politicized from the Discord messages. At one point, he went as far as to suggest that freedom of speech should be amended so that vaccine and COVID skepticism was not protected by it and could get you punishment by the government. Also, I've repeatedly seen people claim that Tyler was a furry, but in these chats, he seems to deny it, as when another user says he is one, he replies by saying, I told someone I wasn't going to watch their anime one time and get called a goddamn furry. This country is going downhill. Earlier on, even Lance was open to crack.
I mean, the boyfriend's the furry, though. That's the thing.
Making some more edgy jokes, like me proving that being black is a myth and calling other people libtards. And I'm under the impression that he engaged with lolcow and internet drama culture to some extent. The reason why is because there's a good...
Oh my goodness. This guy absolutely watched the Chris Chan documentary series.
Few messages of him talking to someone else about Terry Davis, where he calls Terry a weird nerd, but acknowledges that he has a sad story, while expressing no hang-ups about someone else in the server, echoing Terry's use of the N-word to describe CIA.
He doesn't like black people. Do you love black people, chat?
Agents.
I love black people.
There's also a good few messages in which Lance can be seen discussing Chris Chan and his current girlfriend, Flutter, where Lance says Christorians must be praising the sun, with one odd message comparing someone's looks to Janky, which could be in reference to someone else in the server, but most likely is in reference to Isabella Janky, one of Chris Chan's most infamous tormentors and A-logs.
And also a woman that Jeff said he could change. He could change her, chat. If there was one man that could change Janky, it was him.
As of 2022, Lance sent a few messages complaining about H3H3, saying this: can't stand the podcast or new content. His old videos are still good. I don't understand how he was able to go from genuinely goofy and enjoyable content to purely bad political takes and one of the most boring podcasts I've listened to. Half the time, he won't even let guests talk. He just interrupts them to make...
That's because every YouTuber goes through this path where they make good content that gets them a lot of attention, and then they start streaming, and they have nothing to fill their time with. So they either start watching other people's videos or talk about politics. You hate to see it. They used to make good videos, or at least decent videos, and now they just put out lazy streams. They can't keep getting away with it. Someone should hold them accountable.
A bad joke and then doesn't let them finish. Another interesting token of Lance talking about the kind of content he interacted with online is his positive review of Wendigoon's content, which seems to come from Isaiah's videos on FNAF lore based on other messages sent by Lance to the server. To put it simply,
no shot. Okay, like this, unironically, this kid may have seen my videos. Like, I usually don't say this, but I do have one FNAF video that I put out a long, long time ago that garnered something like 3 million views. There's actually a very high likelihood that this kid saw one of my Five Nights at Freddy's videos, which is it was a different time. You have to understand, chat. It's back before all the Chica weirdo shit posting, okay?
up until some point in 2024, like I already suspected in my first video, Lance was mostly normal and didn't take much of anything very seriously. Even when his doom scroll nest phase began, he was still capable of making light of what he was up to, saying the following: "I have begun only sleeping on the couch, cooler downstairs, and less room to move, or I fall off/get eaten." Tyler, on the other hand,
it's like the floor is lava to the extreme level.
Seldom engaged in the same degree of joking as Lance did. The most I could find on him suggesting an interest in edgier online content is a GIF that he posted of Gypsy Crusader. When he did send text messages to the server's chat, it was usually to give people a small window into his private life. In 2020, there was some conversation between him and other users talking about a YouTube channel he once had, which contained a tour of his bedroom. Unfortunately, as far as I know, and
I wonder if I could find this. I might be able to. Like, if he commented on one of my videos, I could search for his username. Not necessarily his YouTube is the same as his username on Discord, but if it is, that would be really weird.
According to the messages Tyler sent here, this video and the entire channel have become lost media. In 2021, he said that his brother had accidentally discharged a firearm and shot a hole in the wall, with no further comments from Tyler. In 2023, it seems he became a bit more talkative, and he shared a few more times about his electrical apprenticeship program and what kinds of things he had to do in it. But any apparent character development for Tyler came to a screeching halt in late 2023 to 2024, when Tyler's messages became noticeably more politicized.
Any Middle Easter when the 3,000-year war is still ongoing.
Of them in reference to war in the Middle East, and some of them joking about the assassination attempt on Trump.
You know, speaking of war in the Middle East, I told you guys the other day that I was watching the Flash Gits videos, and they had the furry history and the furry fascists. I decided to watch their video on the Crusades. It's actually fascinating, all learning about all the Crusades. There was literally one of the Crusades was like the children's crusade, when a bunch of 12-year-olds, like 30,000 12-year-olds got together and tried to march on Jerusalem. But they decided that their weapon was their innocence, and they disarmed themselves, and they all got taken as slaves. And they weren't even officially sanctified by the Pope. It was actually really fascinating. Like, they've got some good videos. The Tom and Dom channel, it's like actually really, really good content.
Saying snowflake liberals can't shoot straight because they too busy being gay. While he was definitely still reading the room, so to speak, and not breaking into a rant, he clearly became more agitated about these things. Curiously, another member of the group chat was at a campus of all places when a shooting took place, and Lance responded with concern. All of a sudden, this agitation too gave way to something else, mostly silence. As Lance became increasingly present in servers and started one of his own, the femboy server, as he put it, right around the time they started dating, Tyler became increasingly inactive, even less expressive than he was initially. Most of the information from this time period comes from Lance, who notified the group chat when he was going on a date with Tyler or watching TV shows with him. Speaking of TV shows, it's quite possible that the show they were watching was Beastars. Oh
my goodness. My girlfriend tried to make me watch this show, chat. This is really popular in Japan, and she's just like, just watch an episode. I'm like, I don't want to watch this. Should I be worried, chat? Unironically, she tried to get me to watch this shit. It's weird.
Big furry.
She watches Chainsaw Man too. That's another red flag. I don't know. It's all starting to like come together in my mind.
Anime show, because Lance discussed it in the server on a few occasions.
Wait, actually, she made a drawing for me the other day because we had a drawing contest. Well, not a contest. We're just seeing. I thought I could draw better than her, but she's actually really good. She drew. Should I show the chat what she drew? No, maybe that's too personal. No, it's just like a cute drawing. It's nothing weird or edgy, but like, I don't know, but maybe I can find it. Let me see. She's actually pretty good. But her drawings are very feminine. All right, chat. You're going to have to help me. Because my girlfriend did ask me to watch Beast Stars. And that's a furry anime, I'm pretty sure. And she drew a picture of a mouse for me. Like a kangaroo mouse, because we were talking about Dune. Okay. I'm going to show you this drawing, and you have to tell me, is this a regular mouse drawing or is this a furry mouse drawing? I think it's very adorable. I think it's a non-furry drawing, but I'll let the chat decide, okay? Is this a furry drawing, or is it just a cute little mouse that's jumping and using its ears as like wings? Is this furry or not furry? I think it's pretty good. I think it's very cute, right? It's pretty good. I think it's just very anatomically correct. It's non-furry. Oh, thank God. Oh my goodness. Whew. That's a normal mouse. It's safe, not furry. Oh my goodness. Everybody's saying not furry. We're safe. We're safe, chat. Okay, she's fine. It's cute though, right? I was like shocked. Because she had like this secret drawing talent. I was like, what the fuck? I was like coming in here. I was like, I'm gonna draw a picture of koala, and like what we did is we were like, all right. I thought I was a better drawer than her, so I was like, I'll draw a koala, and you draw whatever you want to draw, and we'll see who's his best. And she blew me out of the water. Like I was like, what the fuck? I didn't know you could draw. Japanese people are so sneaky. They're like so fucking sneaky. Every Japanese person has like this master level in every fucking thing they do, and then you ask them if they can do something, they're like no. It's like, can you draw? They're like, nah, I can't draw. And then you ask them to draw something, they draw something amazing. It's so frustrating. They keep doing it to me too. They keep making me like luring me into a self-confidence, and then they're just amazing at everything. Check her browser history. She's probably just reading like Chainsaw Man stories or whatever.
Now, from late 2024 to early 2025, some of Lance's messages further corroborate the claims made by his and Tyler's anonymous peer. First off, he says that he's been chronically sleeping from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., and that it's been wreaking havoc on his life. Then, we have a ton of messages in his own server where he's talking to ChatGPT, although I'm sure this is only a fraction of the full extent of his communications with it. Lastly, we have Lance inviting everyone in his server to a
Slippery slope. I mean, to be fair, the Japanese man that invented furries, he did start off by drawing sexy mice.
attend the anti-Trump No Kings protest. Over the previous half a decade worth of Discord messages, nothing from Lance comes even close to as clear of a political expression as this. As far as Tyler's presence in Lance's server, one of the last messages I was able to find of his was sent in August, where he simply says, "I am very ill." Within a month of this message, the tragic day of September 10th comes around, and the following day, Tyler sends his confession message to their old friend group server.
Yeah, they do shit
It's
like
interesting
this.
to me that he sent it in this server and not to Lance's new server, because I'm not sure why that is. It could just be that he was less familiar with the people there, but based on the kind of messages sent there, which we're going to go over later, it could be that he wanted to avoid having anyone say something that resembled support for his actions. In the original group chat, one of the most prominent users replied, saying this: "Hey everyone, if you haven't seen the news yet, Tyler's post above is true. He was taken into custody earlier today for the shooting of Charlie Kirk. Regardless of the horrible actions that took place, we must take this moment to remember that God is a living and loving God who loves all his children. God calls sinners to be his saints, and I ask that you all take a quiet moment to pray for Tyler and his repentance. While Charlie Kirk's politics were not acceptable to some, I ask that we all say a prayer for him and his family during these confusing times. Love you all. God bless." Given the clearly religious nature of this post,
Hold on a second, I'm kind of curious. Okay.
during these confusing times. Love you all. God bless. Given the clearly religious nature of this post, it's safe to say that this particular Discord server was pretty varied in what kind of people were in it, especially since it mostly went quiet after the attack on Charlie Kirk.
I mean, like, if you're in this Discord server, shouldn't you just nuke the server? I mean, I guess you can't because of legal reasons, but like, this event happens, you destroy the entire server, right? You just leave it, you get rid of it. You don't want to be attached to this. It's radioactive.
Over on Lance's server, Lance's final message there was from a day after the shooting, tagging a user that, as of the archiving of the messages, was no longer in the server. After Tyler's crime took place, many of the users complained about the harassment and unwanted attention from journalists and random people online digging up everybody Lance was connected to. That's a perfectly reasonable reaction, especially since, as far as I can tell, most of them just occasionally played video games with Lance, so their connection to Tyler was tenuous at best, even if they shared a Discord server. But there are a few things I want to go over that I didn't mention in my previous video, such as the fact that Tyler had a few few blurbs of unusual online presence that I hadn't seen. For example, he had a DeviantArt under his older handle, Crafton247, where he lists himself as they/them. It's not possible for this account to belong to someone else that created it after the assassination, as it was created 2 years ago. Then we have another account with the same exact handle, this time on Fur Affinity, but there doesn't seem to be any...
See? What does DeviantArt think they're doing? They're naming their website DeviantArt. You knew they were in for a bad time.
significant activity on it, just like on DeviantArt. And for those of you who don't know, Fur Affinity is like the furry website. It's the #1 furry website, okay? Now, there's also 2 Reddit accounts under the names Crafton247 and Crafton248, neither of which contain any significant info. There's one post on each account, both of some pretty mundane content and from years ago, long before he was dating Lance and became more politicized. Now, lastly, there are the Steam accounts of both Tyler and Lance. Tyler was clearly much more active on Steam, being level 50 on the platform. It is interesting that Tyler once...
There's levels? There's fucking levels on Steam?
Set his name on there as Donald Trump, but besides that, nothing of note, really. Part of why there's very little to say is that Tyler clearly set most of...
I mean, he dressed up as Donald Trump, like a Mexican riding Donald Trump for Halloween, so he could have been doing that during Halloween time or something.
His settings to more private options, which, again, is pretty reflective of the kind of guy he was. Lance, on the other hand, had pretty much every facet of his profile completely public.
What the fuck? Is this a Steam profile? Can you make your Steam profile picture look like this? With animated neon dancing troon girls?
Where we can see that the last game he played was 2 days after Charlie's death.
Really? You're going to be... You're going to be playing Dead by Daylight? Come on now. Wait, look at this. He's only got 7 achievements in Silksong. He should get the death penalty for this. Oh my goodness. I've never... Why would I do anything else with Steam apart from just load my games and start playing them? Steam is not a game. I don't know what the fuck Steam cards are for. I just use it to buy games and play games. He has 333 hours on... He's only played 14 hours. Wait a minute. 14.8 hours? I think I'm noticing something, chat. Wait, how many achievements do I have on Silksong? I haven't played any Silksong today. I really like Silksong though. Let's have a look real quick. I have Silksong. I've only got 25 achievements. I thought I had more than that. It's like 25 out of 52. So I'm not even halfway through the achievements. Shit. But I defeated Grandmother Silk, and I've started Act 3. So I've got the bad ending, and now I'm working on getting the good ending. And but I found the first boss that I was actually shocked about, because while I was going around looking for stuff, I fought the first sinner. And I was like, what the fuck is this? It's the first boss where I've been like, oh my God, what the fuck? What the fuck? But it looks pretty cool. It looks like a pretty cool fight. But I'm going to go back to it. It was because I only had limited time. And I was just like, I want to use my time to beat Grandmother Silk and then also set up the soul trap and beat Grandmother Silk. And now it's I'm playing on the fucking black threaded mode or whatever. It's holy shit. There's been a fun skipping, a fun leap in difficulty. First Sinner really sucks. It looks really cool though. I've heard that a lot of people say it's their favorite boss. Who's the hardest boss in Silksong? I heard that a lot of people think that Lace is the hardest boss or something, one of the Lace fights. But apparently there's this, what is it, Ant Queen or something? She's the hardest one. That's what I've heard. But I'm trying not to spoil myself on how to beat the bosses. I want to figure it out myself. But I like it. The point, every time I get an achievement on Silksong now, it's fewer and fewer people have it. For example, defeating the snared silk achievement, only 33% of the player base has got it. Which is, I was like, oh, so I'm in the top 33% of Silksong players now. It's getting better every day.
And his profile has
well, not today though.
Been completely inactive since then. then. Given the testimony from Tyler and Lance's friend, even people who knew them in real life and frequented their living space only ever caught glimpses of the exact nature of their relationship. Based on the last few months prior to Charlie Kirk's assassination, as far as I understand, they weren't really having anyone over, and their output of messages to their online friends also significantly decreased. I have done my best to contact Lance about all of these claims and get his side of what happened, but he has not responded to 3 different requests for comment. Unless one of them, Tyler or Lance, decides to speak up and elucidate the lead up to what happened, I think there's no chance we can piece together a full narrative of the events that contributed to Tyler's mindset. Clearly, it was politically motivated, as both Tyler and Lance had become much more political, particularly around the topic of gender. Hopefully one day, we'll get all the answers. Anyhow, I've been Turkey Tom, thanks for watching, and until next time, leave me alone.
So, like, that was actually really interesting, especially the schizo drawing thing. It really gave me some nostalgic times. But, like, I think I saw, like, it's kind of crazy how all this information just comes out after these sort of events, especially in our modern day and age. It's like the Sherlock era where we're all like researching shit that's happening while it's happening. I saw another one, like they're still talking about Brian Koberger. Like there's more messages were leaked about Brian Koberger or whatever on like Law and Crime, but I thought that wasn't as interesting as this. So I probably won't check that out. This was actually very fascinating. This person was clearly crazy go nuts. Well, the question is, what role did they play in this? Like, were they actually completely oblivious, or did they program Tyler into doing this with sissy hypnosis? That's the real question. All right, what is this? Play RV There Yet with BP and Max. Is this a video game? RV There Yet. RV There Yet. Is this like a Desert Bus or something? Let's have a look at the announcement trailer. Let's see if it's any interesting. All right. Is this a new game? So it's a driving game, obviously. This actually looks pretty cool. Oh, was that a snake? It is a snake. There's a snake over there. This actually looks pretty fun. This is a very good idea. How much does this game cost? This actually looks like really, really fun. There was a bear? Yeah, I saw the bear. This is just like Cringe Van. This is actually a very good suggestion, and I'm going to check. Is this on Steam now? RV There Yet. RV. Oh, it's 800 yen. Offer ends in October. I'm going to add this to my wish list. Does everyone need a copy of this game? So I have to buy 3 copies of this game, right? That sounds like a really good idea. The game I want to play, which I keep meaning to play, was what was it called? Shit. It was called The Last Sentence or something, which looks really fun. The Final Sentence? Is it The Final Sentence? I think Jim Mr. Medica posted about this game. This game looks really cool. So it's a battle royale game, but it's like typing. So so the slowest typer dies basically every round, or like there's a certain amount of typers die every round. If you make any mistakes, you die. This looks really good. Like, it looks so good. It looks so fucking good. It's such a stupid, like, simple game, but it looks so good. That's The Final Sentence. The name is just so funny too. I definitely want to try this. It's like Mavis Bacon from hell. Metal Commander is playing this like right now. Is he good at it? I'm actually a pretty good typer. I'm actually a really good typer. Let me see. Oh, fuck. But, okay, my microphone's in the way. My keyboard isn't usually set up like this, okay? It's not what you think. It's not what you think. What is this? Fat influencer gets arrested, couldn't fit in the car. I don't know how much time I've got. Maybe we'll watch this next time. This does look pretty funny, though. Let's take a quick look at this and see if we should watch it next stream.
This body positivity influencer was just arrested and couldn't fit into the cop car. And this is the same woman who's been demanding airlines.
It's like fucking 40 chest.
Overweight travelers.
Look at how fucking... Oh, this is a Tozy video. Look at this smug chick.
Body positivity influencer.
I might have to check this out. I'm not going to watch Asmongold watching a Tozy talk about it though. I'll just either watch a Tozy or see if I can find the original video. But good suggestion. Good suggestion. I want to see. Is there actually footage of them like being stuffed into the car? That's the real important part. Would be a shame if it's training AIs to read typos. That's almost certainly what it's doing. It's actually pretty smart too. Oh yeah, this video is lagging up my Firefox, whatever. So we're gonna get rid of it. That's a good idea. It's a good idea for that video. I'll have to see if I can check it out. Didn't Atozy go back to Korea? I thought there was some more Johnny Somali trial stuff, but I haven't had time to check it out. Oops, clear that one out. There it goes. All right, guys, that's all we got for tonight. We'll be seeing you back maybe tomorrow. Pretty sure tomorrow. Wait, she gets arrested and yells 9/11 grape while the police handcuffed her. All right, we'll definitely check it out at a later date, but there's no more time. There's no more time tonight. I've got 7 days to finish my project. Otherwise, I get hit the deadline. And then I won't be able to do the other project that I just got an email about tonight. Anyways, hope you enjoyed that. I know that the French jewel thieves are in the chat somewhere, so here's my advice. Congratulations. Just don't get caught, I guess. Wink, wink. Peace.
Was this story based? Yes.